the legend, the incomparable, the impetuous, the prince of Pan-Africanism. And I'm talking about none other than our dear brother and someone who has been on the front lines and in the struggle and working to do some amazing and truly profound and prolific things for not only our young people, but our people in general. And on what no better day can I think of having the one, the only Dr. Umar Johnson to tap on in and come on in on the conscious mindset. How are you doing? Wonderful and truly amazing and profound, dear brother. How are you doing, Dr. Johnson?
I'm doing well, doing well. Looking forward to coming back to Texas. I actually will be visiting three major cities. We have Houston on Saturday at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. And then we have Dallas on Sunday at Aldi's Afribian Restaurant. Both events, July 10th and 11th, will be from 2 p.m. until 8 p.m. They are absolutely free. No tickets or registration is needed.
Wow.
The lecture will be at 2, Q&A will be at 3, and then people can stop in to get their book signed, take their photo, and also talk to me individually from 4 until 8. So 2 to 4 is the lecture and Q&A, and 4 to 8 is the book signing and personal conversation time. It's more of a meet and greet with Dr. Umar. Since we're coming out of this COVID situation, I just wanted to make my rounds, give the people an opportunity to engage with me because it's been so long. My last time in Dallas was Kwanzaa of 2018, and my last time in Houston was Kwanzaa of 2017.
That's
so
right.
It's been 3.5 years from Houston, 2.5 years for Dallas. I'm looking forward to coming back, and then I'll be coming back in 2 weeks to Austin, Texas. And I haven't been there in 2015. I'm still waiting on the information, but that'll be Sunday, July the 25th, Austin, Texas, and that's a 4 o'clock start. But Dallas and Houston are 2 until 8 this Saturday and Sunday, respectively.
You know what? It's so amazing that you are taking the trek to Texas because I think this is a pivotal place to not only have the kind of information that will help elevate our awareness and engage our consciousness, but also get us more focused on what we need to do. We see the restrictive voting rights laws that have been implemented all across this country. And most importantly, especially that began in Texas, and Texas has the highest number of those restrictive laws. And it's very interesting to see a brother like yourself come here that's called upon not only Joseph Biden, the president of the United States, 46 to be exact, to begin to implement not only beautiful sounding words, but real policies and agendas and executive orders. So it's amazing how we're seeing you come to this city, not only to bring us back in and bring us outside again so we can begin to fellowship and connect and to rebuild those relationships, but also that we can understand the important information to begin to get us engaged and activated so we can do what we need to do to protect our people. Because I've heard you say recently, nobody's coming to save us but us, and we have to do the work. So I definitely like to hear, what was in your thought process in terms of starting this tour and then going to these southern towns, these southern places and spaces like Houston, Dallas, and Austin to begin to give this information that's so important to our people.
Well, because my expertise professionally is in the area of school psychology, clinical psychology, and education, I've always considered it my obligation to try to get around to as many Black communities as I possibly can throughout the year, because there are so many states, so many cities, so many regions, so many countries. Being a Pan-Africanist, my responsibility is to the whole diaspora, not just the United States. So on average, you only get to a place, maybe once every other year. This is the longest time I've been away from Dallas and Houston. I was coming to Houston every single year for Kwanzaa, and then COVID interrupted that, you see, and just the regular comings and goings of life kind of interrupted that. So 3.5 years is a very long time for me to be away from Houston, and 2.5 years is a very long time for me to be away from Dallas. But again, nature takes its course, life takes its course, so I'm just glad to be coming back, fortunate to be doing so. Obviously living on the East Coast, New York and DC and Baltimore and Jersey and Virginia, Boston, those places are easy for me to get to. I was just in Hartford, Connecticut and Springfield, Massachusetts last weekend. So places that are not a quick shot from home, I have to plan to get there.
Right.
And so when you're talking about the Houston and Dallases, but then there's other places who haven't seen me in more years than that. When I think of Phoenix, Arizona, and Little Rock, Arkansas. But what I tell people all the time, a lot of that is due to the fact that the people are not finding the spaces that are necessary for Dr. Umar to come, because there's a lot of people who, you know, are not comfortable with me or my message, you see. So you have to make sure you have the right place that are going to be supportive of the event. And a lot of times our people tend to wait for me to do all the groundwork instead of them doing it. I was on an interview yesterday and an elder called in and he said, why aren't you coming to the heart of the Black community in Dallas? I said, because you didn't find me a place. It's really just that simple. Okay, if you wanted me to come to your neighborhood, you should have found me a place. You know, so we get caught up in that whole pastor mentality where we just want to sit still with our hands folded and wait for the leaders and the organizers to do all the work. I tell people all the time, if you haven't seen me in your city, it's your fault, because Dr. Umar will go anywhere, but you can't wait for Dr. Umar to find a place as well. Get off your behind, do some work too. You know, but I'm just looking forward to coming back to Texas. You know, I'm a Leo, so I love the sun, and it's pretty up, you know, down in Texas. A lot of my supporters are down there. A lot of the FDMG Academy donors are from Texas. I don't think there's a time where we picked up donations for the school where there wasn't at least 1 or 2 donations from the state of Texas. So Texas has been a very big support state throughout these 7 years that we've been raising money for FDMG.
Why do you think there's such a hesitation, even in the conscious community? Is it jealousy? Is it fear of the white backlash? Is it the misunderstandings? Is it the cognitive dissonance? You being a psychologist, I know that you've thought about these things and probably have a better analysis and a way of understanding. Why is there so much hesitation toward someone who is saying simply, you know, we want to liberate ourselves. We want to bring the words of this document called the Declaration of Independence into actuality for melanated people in and around the world. So why is there so much hesitation? Is it envy? Is it jealousy? Or is it just an ignorance and a lack of understanding why people don't receive and want to hear your message be spread amongst the people?
Well, here's the thing, and I say it all the time, 99% of the African world loves and supports Dr. Umar Ifatunde. So, you know, there's no scholar in the world who gets the love that I get. There's no scholar in the world who's in demand as I have been consecutively for 11 years now. So the love is there. Even when I look at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, sometimes people will ask, why aren't more people donating? And I say to myself, more people are donating. Like there's never a time we go to the post office and we don't pick up several dozen donations. The love is there. Now, the challenge with the donations might be the amount of the donation, but not the quantity of the donation. Okay, we have no issue with quantity of donations. We wish they could be more. In other words, if everybody who donated to this, if every single donation we've received these 7 years was $50 or more, the school would be done by now. If every donation we received was $100 or more, we'd probably have more than one school by now. You see, so it's not the amount of people donating. That's one of the greatest myths out there. We get love, but our people, you know, many of us are struggling, raising children, doing the best we can. They're not able to donate the way they would want to. So it's not the amount of donations. I have no concern about the amount of donations. Okay, we get volumes of donations, but the quantity of the donation. It's the $5, it's the 10s, it's the 20s, it's the 30s, which we don't complain about. We love it and we're thankful because that is what bought these 2 schools. So we're thankful. But just to be clear, once again, we are getting plenty of donations. It's just that the amounts are humble. But again, we don't complain because that's how we bought the school and that's how we're renovating the school. Now, to answer your question, when you're dealing with celebrities, because I have a lot of celebrities who support me, but they do it from a distance. And I think it's because of the fear of backlash from the white power structure. I'm almost certain. Celebrities reach out to me on a regular basis. I just communicated with one yesterday. And I'm not talking low level. I'm talking high level celebrities. Multi-platinum this and multi-platinum that and billionaire this. Those are the people who reach out and they give me moral support but they don't give me financial support.
Mm.
And I believe they don't give me financial support because they're afraid of the backlash from the white power structure. Now, when you go over to the conscious community, your sentiment is totally correct. It's the jealousy and the envy. It's
Mm.
totally the jealousy and the envy,
Mm.
because you're taking already the top scholar in the conscious community, and he's the only one building a serious institution for the people. Nobody else you can name. Nobody else of the top names in Black consciousness. I'm not going to call them scholars, because my definition of scholar is greater than sitting on YouTube making videos. That doesn't make you a scholar. We use that word very loosely. But of the top personalities, I'm the only one building an institution. And when that institution materializes, it will be undisputed. It will be undisputable, the question of what has Dr. Umar done for African people. I would argue it's undisputable now, with what I've done for children, with what I've done for Black parents, okay, with what I've done to educate and expose special ed and ADHD and psychiatric meds, all the children I've saved, hundreds of thousands of them over my 21-year career. It's already undisputable for me. But working in the field of psychology, everything you do is confidential. So I can't put a parent on here and say, tell them how I saved your son from being called retarded. I can't put a kid on here and say, tell them how Dr. Umar saved you from being on Ritalin and Adderall and Concerta, or going to that psychiatric placement. It's confidential. It's a total breach of the law and ethics. So my work is done in the dark. It's like Harriet Tubman in the Underground Railroad. It's done in the dark. She can't bring those enslaved Africans and say, tell them how I helped you get away from slavery. She can't do it, because she's a fugitive herself, you see. So some people would try to dispute that mark. I don't think it's disputable, though, because there's millions of testimonies. I get them every day for how I save parents, individuals, children, and the like. But once you have a school, everybody can see it. You see, there is no more debate. It's over now, you see. And so I think the issue is twofold. It's the jealousy and the envy. They don't want me to succeed. But it also is a threat or concern that when he does this, the entire Black community is going to look at the rest of us. The entire Black community is going to look at the rest of us, and they're going to say, if Dr. Umar can do this, as busy as he is, doing all he does with all his travel and all his lectures, he still was able to give us a school, 2 schools, by the way. We have 2 of them. The Honorable Marcus Garvey Elementary School, which is right across the street from the Honorable Frederick Douglass High School. If he could give us 2 schools in 7 years, starting without a penny, first donation spring of 2014, what are you going to build? He gave us a school now. What are you? Because we tired of the DVDs. We tired of the documentaries. We tired of the books. We tired of the debates. We tired of the YouTube videos. We tired of the summer festivals. We need tangible solutions. And the best solution that you can ever give a people is an institution. The best solution you can ever give a people is an independent institution. So when this happens, it automatically raises the bar for everybody else. You see, it's like, take a Chris Paul to give you a quick NBA analysis. He's been in the league 16 years, 18 years, never won. If he wins the NBA championship this year, and he's not on the super team, and he's leading a group of young players, if Chris Paul can knock off LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you see, if he can knock off Kawhi Leonard and Paul George without a super team, he's knocking off super teams.
Right.
You see, he's an old player, veteran player, knocking off super teams. If he wins that title, it automatically raises the bar for other great players. And now everybody's going to say, you don't need a super team to win. Stop saying you need a super team, because Chris Paul won without a super team. You understand? Right. So whenever somebody accomplishes something that other people haven't accomplished, it raises the bar. And the best way to keep Black people from expecting these other conscious personalities from doing anything is to make sure Dr. Umar doesn't achieve his dream. We want to stay down here. We want to stay on YouTube. We want to stay making money at the events. That's where we at. We don't want people coming to me talking about, put the documentary down, we want an institution. Put the book down, we want an institution. Put the shea butter and green smoothie down, where's the bank? Where's the supermarket? Where's the shipping industry? Where's the hospital? Where's the farm? You understand? They don't want that responsibility. What I'm doing takes responsibility. What I'm doing takes all my time. FDMG takes all my time. I was supposed to be down at the school today to get some more work done, but I was tired. I said I need to get a break. So then I got to go back down there tomorrow. It takes all my time. I'm down there 15, 20 hours a day. It's no easy undertaking. You have to love the children. You have to love the people. You have to love the mission in order to do what I do. So to simply answer your question, it will set me more apart than I already am within the Black conscious movement. And that's why they don't want it to succeed.
And saying that, I have to ask this question. Did it hurt you? Did it make you say, wow, do my people not understand? Because I know you see the hate. We talked about it off air and on air. You know, we talked about how, you know, the bullseye is on your back. And as many people who appreciate and applaud and love you, many of them, and I talked to them over the break, man, over I let people know you were coming on, and they were like, hey, man, thanks for bringing the brother on. And I said, let people know he's going to be on. Nah, man, I can't do that. Or, you know, people were scared. They were afraid because the anti-Umars have become so boisterous,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
And I asked the anti-Umars, well, why don't you like the brother? Why don't you cut for the brother? Because I don't want you to become a casualty of cancel culture that's not based in reality, that's based in a figment of imagination and hate.
I'll never be a part of cancel culture. I'm too relevant. I am too relevant. There's no other Dr. Umar in the United States of America. And I'm being honest. It's just like the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. W.E.B. Du Bois tried to cancel the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. A. Philip Randolph tried to cancel the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. The Black communists, the Black socialists, the NAACP, all these Black people wanted to cancel the most Honorable Marcus Garvey. You know why they couldn't? Garvey was doing something no other Black leader was doing. You can't cancel somebody who's that essential to the progress of the people. Cancel me and replace me with who? Replace me with who? Give me the one person who can do what I do and do it the way I do it. Who's the other certified school psychologist in the conscious community? Who's the other expert on mental health and intelligence in the Black community for Black children? Psychological assessments and psychometrics. Who can do that? None of them. You can't cancel me. I'm too relevant. And see, the other issue that they fail to realize, my support base is not the conscious community. My support base is the global African family. You can't cancel me. Look, I don't have a YouTube page, brother. I do not have a YouTube page. But I have more videos on YouTube than anybody in the world, still living. No Black scholar has more videos on YouTube than Dr. Umar, but I don't have a page. Do you know what that means? That means the people love me so much that every time I speak, they consider it to be so important that they upload it on their own. How does a man without a YouTube page control YouTube? Woo. That's the power of Ifa Tunde. They can't touch me, brother. I don't care if I'm in Texas, I'm number one. If I'm in New York, I'm in number one. If I'm in Nigeria, I'm number one. If I'm in London, I'm number one. I'm the new Marcus Garvey. They can't do nothing with me. They couldn't touch him, and they can't touch me. They couldn't touch him, and they can't touch me, brother. I'm irreplaceable. Listen, if somebody's child is at risk for being expelled from school, who they gonna call? If somebody's child is being evaluated for autism, who they gonna call? If somebody's child is being caught retarded, who they gonna call? Who they gonna call? They gonna call me. You can't cancel me. I'm too critical.
Wow.
I'm too critical.
Wow.
I remember when I first started raising money, as you just spoke to, the conscious community said, well, we're going to cancel him for this and for this and for that. He don't have no degrees and he ain't really a psychologist and he ain't related to Frederick Douglass and all these lies. But they couldn't do it because my power base is not the YouTubian universe. That's not my power base.
Wow.
Everyday Black people love and support Dr. Umar, brother. They can't do nothing with me. Even the celebrities are amazed. They like, this dude get more love. I'm walking through the airport and there's celebrities in there. And guess what the people do? Guess what? They'll leave the celebrity
and come to you.
$multi-million artists. They'll leave them and come to Dr. Umar. And now all the white folks are saying, excuse me, what do you do for a living? Are you an athlete? Are you an entertainer? Nah, sweetheart, I'm a scholar and a revolutionary. They can't cancel me.
That's powerful,
Please.
brother. And I'm happy you said that because so many people would misinterpret that as conceit. Oh, there you go. He being egotistical and all of this and all of that. But what I always say to people is the black ego, the black psyche has been damaged. It's been denigrated. It's been disrespected. And it has been perpetually marginalized and ostracized. And many of us, when we see a black man who knows his greatness, who understands his power, his prowess, and speaks about it intelligently, articulately, and effectively, many people misinterpret that as vanity and pride, but actually it's fact. And it's alleviating and destroying the fiction that continues to parade the madness of our minds and this mass critical society as well that tries to dispel a black man who says, I am the greatest, I am good, I am powerful, I am my ancestors, I am walking in a lineage of profound, prolific, and amazing human beings. I want to ask this question, brother, because I think it's so important. And this is why I love your work with children, because you get young people to understand that they matter, that they mean something, and that their work is relevant, it's valid, and it's extremely important. I want to ask you this question because I think it's so important in this time and season. Someone who is constantly being berated, hated on, and disparaged, for you to have the courage, the confidence, and the character and the conviction of that character. Can you talk about how important it is for young people to see that, for young people to hear individuals that speak like that live like that have that level of sagacity and temerity and integrity? Because we see so many individuals in mass media. You mentioned celebrity. It seems like those who are famous now are always compromising their stances, are always mitigating from trying to make money rather than trying to live by principles like yourself. So I just want you to break that down so young people will understand, so parents will understand how important it is to put their children before folk like yourself who are in the building of building institutions.
One of my primary goals with my life and with my movement is I want to be an example to young black children so that they may understand that you can still be a success, you can still be popular, you can still do whatever you want to do without compromising yourself before white people. There's nothing more powerful than when I'm in a restaurant and there's black children in there and all these black people are coming by the table. Can I take a picture? Can I take a picture? Can I take a picture? And now all the white waitresses are looking, and everybody who don't know who I am is like, who is this guy that everybody's stopping at his table? He don't look like LeBron James. He don't look like Michael Vick. Who is this guy? And then the children will come over and say, or their parents will say, who are you? I'm Dr. Umar. Are you an athlete, an entertainer? No, I am a scholar and a psychologist. And then my message to the child is, you see how much love I'm getting in this restaurant. I didn't have to use basketball. I didn't have to use football. I didn't have to use gangster rap.
Facts.
You understand? And
Facts.
so what I'm trying to get them to see is everything you want to be, you can be it. But you don't have to be an athlete or entertainer to get there. And you don't have to compromise your principles.
Facts.
You have to sell out your integrity in order to be famous or popular, if that's what you're looking for. I didn't seek to do that. I never knew I would be getting stopped in airports. I never knew that people would be paying for my meals. You know, I was in Atlanta at the Spawn Divots. I ordered $100 worth of food, and the waitress came over there and said, you don't have to pay. It's been paid for. I said, what do you mean? She said, you see that guy all the way down there? He paid for your meal. And the brother just gave me a black fist. And I get that all the time, all over the world. I'm at the gas station the other day, driving to the Great Blacks and Wax Museum in Maryland, because I had to do a tour. I love to tour children through the Great Blacks and Wax Museum. So I drove down to do a tour for some youth who were visiting from Palm Springs, California. An organization flew me out there last month to speak. And since they were on a black college tour this week, I said, let me return the favor. Let me come down to Baltimore. So I drove from Philly and did the tour. So I'm at the gas station filling up the gas, and a whole bunch of youth is out there, middle school, high school. And they're like, I think that's Dr. Umar. I think that's him. And then I turned around and the mother looked in the car and I said, "How you doing, sister?" She said, "Oh my God, it's Dr. Umar." Once again, the white folks is looking like, who is this guy? You know, and it amazes me, you know, because they're like, who is this dude? You know, we don't recognize him, but everybody knows him, you know. So again, I try to use that to motivate children to understand you don't have to be a rapper or athlete to get that level of love, support. You don't have to be a rapper or athlete to get that level of community cachet, if you will. Find something you love that's going to benefit the race and give your whole life to it, and the rest will take care of itself. See, my story, I knew what I would be doing with my life before I left elementary school. In third grade, I wanted to be a psychologist. I knew it by name. In third, at what, 8 years old, I'm already telling people I'm going to be a psychologist. 9 and 10 years old, I was introduced to Black consciousness through Black history class at Meade Elementary School in North Philly. Okay. 6th grade is when I went to my first family reunion and learned I was related to Frederick Douglass. So before I left elementary school, the psychology was there, the consciousness was there, the awareness of my connection to Frederick Douglass was there. The rest was just history. You see, so I didn't come to consciousness because I got locked up, or I came to consciousness because I got disenchanted with white Christianity. I didn't come to consciousness because the white man disinvited me from his table. You understand? A lot of us come to consciousness as a reaction to. We come to consciousness as a reaction to something else. We were unsuccessful selling the dope, or we was unsuccessful, you know, hustling the credit cards, or, you know, we got tired of the religion we was in. I didn't come as a reaction. I'm organic. Black consciousness was in me in elementary school, and I just stayed with it. So when people say I just came into consciousness, I understand it psychologically, but I also embrace the blessing in that I came to consciousness as a 9-year-old, and I'm now in my 40s, and I'm still pushing. It don't stop for me. This is who I am. You know? And then people ask me, well, what do you do when you're not, you know, in the
Dr. Umar.
What do you do? I said, there is no separation. There is no separation. The job don't end. There's no show me the non-conscious Dr. Umar. It ain't no such thing as the non-conscious Dr. Umar. This is me. I'm real. And I would say the reason I get the love that I get is because I'm real. And I would also argue this too, brother. I don't know if it's the degrees or the oratorical skill, you know, the expertise that they're mostly jealous of. I think it's the love of the people. I think it's if you say, what's the main reason they jealous of you? The number one, it's the love of the people. Let me give you an example. 10-10-15, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had the Million Man March reunion in DC. October 10th, 2015, which is the anniversary date of the hanging of Gabriel Prosser, who led the slave revolt in Richmond, Virginia. He was hanged October 10th. Nat Turner was hanged 11/11. But anyway, I go down there with 2 of my homies. True story. This is when I learned who I was to the people. This is 2015. We get on the mall. I'm just walking, chilling. Next thing you know, can I take a picture? Can I take a picture? Can I take a picture? Next thing you know, I look up. It's a line of 50 people. Some of the brothers from the Nation of Islam came over. They was like, Doc, we know who you is, bro, but this is the minister's time. You got a whole line out here, brother. This is the minister's event. I said, listen, bro, no disrespect, but I'm for the people. If the people want to take a picture, they going to take a picture. We outside. We on the mall in D.C. Nobody own this. Total respect to Minister Farrakhan. I listened to the speech and everything. But some of them, not all, just a few, took issue with the fact that Umar Johnson had this whole sea of people. I didn't say a word to nobody or nothing. Brother, from the time we got there until the time we left, I took pictures nonstop. Now, most of your other conscious heads were down there. I saw them looking around the trees, hiding, ducking behind the car, trying to see. Listen. Some of them had some people, you know, trying to holler at them, take a picture. Nobody had what I had, brother. Ask anybody who was there. I had a line of 100, then another line of 100, then another line of 100. And I'm looking at all your conscious leaders, right? Looking at me. They're in the cut, just studying me. And you can see it on their face. Like, damn, he the one. You can see it on their face. They just threw the towel in You're the one. None of them got the love I got. They was all there. None of them nobody had a line of 100 people waiting to take a picture. And when I left that day, that's when I knew I was next up. That's when I knew it. I never experienced that type of love with that intensity. And mind you, everybody's there from all over the country. Everybody's there.
Right.
And everybody wanted a picture with Dr. Umar Johnson. That is one of the most significant dates in my life, 10-10-15, because that is when I was already popular. I was already selling out all the events.
Right.
But to walk in a place unannounced, nobody know you coming, and to get Minister Farrakhan was done his speech. The event was over. Everybody's leaving, and I still got a line of 100 people. And all your conscious heads are still looking, like, look at this guy. And that's when I knew who I was to Black people. And I don't say that from a place of arrogance. I say it from a place of obligation. Because, see, for me, the more love I get, the more responsibility I have. See, for me, it's not a celebrity thing. And I got to get people to understand that, because, to be honest with you, good brother, the celebrity part takes away from the conscious part. It takes away, because people reduce you to pictures and interviews like rappers and actors. They don't understand that when he get off this Breakfast Club set, he got 25 parents he got to save that day. You understand? After he leave Dallas, Texas, he got to fly back to Wilmington, Delaware, and keep looking at these Black contractors who keep trying to get over on us. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's work. And even with the women I've dated, the women don't get it. They think they're there to be cute. I don't need a woman standing next to me that look good. I'm not no rapper. You're going to be with me. You're going to work your ass off, girl. This ain't no damn, yes, brother. Yes. The women just want to look cute. They don't realize you got to do work here. I don't need nobody to show up with me at events. You know how many women is at my events? What I need you by my side for that? No, I need a worker. And if you're not a worker, whether you're a man or a woman, I can't do nothing with you.
You've said this on numerous occasions, and I really want to go here because our people need to begin to understand this. You talk about how many of us want to fall into the celebrity activism and just take pictures and just be seen on the scene and just get Instagram likes and follows and stuff like this. But when it comes down to the work, people disappear. They scatter like roaches.
Oh, they disappear.
And I really want you to etch into the minds the psychology of that, because you go through this on a day-to-day level. You have people hit you up. Hey, doc, I want to do this. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I know this person that can do this, that can do that, that can do this. And then when it comes time to actually do the work, they disappear.
Oh my
God. They nowhere to be found.
That has been the story of the renovations of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. That has been the story of the renovations of the Frederick Douglass. You know how many people say, doc, I can help you do this. I'm a licensed electrician. I've had two people actually volunteer and be serious about volunteering when it came to the renovation of the building.
Hold on, wait a minute. Doc, I know you a long time, man. Come on, man.
Two. Yeah, our people don't do work, even in the organizations, brother. They come around for the social events. They love the social events. And by the way, speaking of social events, I want to let all my Texas supporters know that we will be having the first annual FDMG block party on September 11th, 9/11, which is Ethiopian New Year. September 11th, 2021. Come on out, 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. We will be at the school, Wilmington, Delaware, 22 minutes drive from the Philadelphia International Airport. You know, Delaware is Philadelphia's backyard. So come on out. It's going to be food, music, games, giveaways, T-shirts, performers. It's very child-centered. So make sure you bring your children. This is all about the youth. Okay. There will be vendors too, and we'll have that information out soon. But we're doing this to honor the people who stood by us. Even though the schools are not ready yet, we still want to do the block party to honor the people who stood by us. So I'm hoping my Texas family finds a way to get to Wilmington, Delaware on Saturday, September the 11th. But to give you an example, everybody will want to be there and be a part of that. Right. But not everybody want to be at the National Independent Black Parent Association, conference. For example, we started the NIBPA in Baltimore, Maryland in 2015, I think it was. We only have one active chapter that is doing the work. I'm going to say this again. The most important organization for Black parents, we have one active chapter. You know why I'm bringing this up? Because I want you to see, brother, thousands of people will come out to the lectures. but how many wants to help us organize these parents? People are not about the work. They want to be seen. They want to be famous. They want to be a part of something successful, but they don't believe in the mission. And that's why you always hear people say stuff like, Dr. Umar want to do everything by himself. First of all, I have a team. I have teams, different teams, but they stay confidential. And I keep the teams confidential because I want to make sure you're doing this work for the right reason. You understand? I'm testing you. I want to make sure you're here to serve the people, not to serve yourself. Because we live in the area of social media addiction, YouTube obsession, YouTube obsession.
Yeah.
So when you come to me talking about I want to help, how much help you want to give me without being on YouTube and Instagram? That's what I want to know. Right. How much help you want to give without being on YouTube and Instagram? Or you just hanging around Dr. Umar to build up your YouTube platform, and then when you get enough, you disappear like so many people, man. I'm going to tell you this right now. Most people in the conscious community are not serious about doing any real work.
Woo! The conscious community, you got to break that down.
Most people, it's the conscious community has become a black church. It is a church. The conscious community is a church, and we function just like a church. We go to the events, we go to the lectures, we take the trips, we go to the festivals, and then we go to hell home. Woo! So isn't it ironic that the conscious community partly grew up in response to the black church, right? We said the church ain't doing nothing for the people, so we create the conscious community to do something for the people, and then the conscious community becomes a church too. Man. And all these YouTubians, they ain't nothing but the pastors of the conscious community. They function just like the... Name me a scholar and tell me how he's any different from a pastor. What institution is he building? What system is he erecting? What problem is he attacking outside of YouTube? Nothing. We have our bishops and we have our saints and we are a damn church. The conscious community is a damn church. What institution have we built? What institution is the Black conscious community of America responsible for creating? I'll wait for an answer.
Okay. Let me.
Somebody said I used to facilitate YouTube beef. How can you facilitate YouTube beef without a YouTube page? Help me understand that.
Yeah.
How can you facilitate YouTube beef if you're not on YouTube? But that's just, you know,
part of that. Yeah, gotta make sure the camera's working. But I want to ask this question, brother, because you had me jumping out of my seat. Because on some levels, I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, wow, the so-called conscious community, and I make that distinction because not that conscious is a bad word. It's the name of the program, but that many people came into this for the hype. They came in this for the hustle. They came in this because of the trending. And I would be honest, man, you brought a lot of attention to this. And the way you broke it down, how easy you made it, it almost reminds me of an MJ commercial. Michael Jordan had a commercial back in the days, and he said, man, you didn't see me in the gym. You didn't see the blood. You didn't see the sweat. You saw me hitting shots. You saw me hitting game 6 shots, winning chips. You saw all of that, and that made you want to be this. That made you want to do this. But you didn't understand the work. And I'm just saying, like, the way you broke things down and how, you know, salient and cogent you made points, it made people say, oh, yeah, I'm woke. Let me put on my dashiki. Let me wear my unk. Let me represent. And they didn't understand the work. They didn't understand what it really takes. So, and I'm not blaming you for that. I'm just making you aware and others aware of this is real. And you have to be about that life.
You got to be about that life. You got to live it.
Right.
You got to live it, brother. And I tell you, most of our people ain't ready to live it. You know, these conscious people, they fake. Most of them fake. And I can say that because I done been on the stage with most of them. I've been around most of them. Most of them fake. You know, some of them I grew up loving until I got next to them and said, you really just about money and videos too. You know what I mean? Old ones and young ones. You know, I'm just keeping it. I'm just calling it like it is. I got some old haters. I got some old haters too. You know, because in me, they see somebody doing more than what they done, and I'm half their age. So they got jealousy too. You know what I mean? Oh, I could write, but the autobiography will be coming out. Oh, and I'm naming names in the autobiography.
You naming names. Come on. Come on
Remember. Remember, W.E.B. Du Bois was old enough to be Marcus Garvey's father.
Thanks.
W.E.B. Du Bois was old enough to be the Honorable Marcus Garvey's father, and he hated Garvey because Garvey had the love of the people in a way Du Bois could never get it. And there's elders out there who ain't got the love of the people. They got it, but they ain't got it the way I got it. Everybody know when Ifa Tunde grabbed that mic, strap your ass in that seat. They know when I get the mic, it's a wrap. I don't care who was on the stage before me. I don't care who was on the stage after me. Once that Leo get that microphone, y'all gonna know who the God of Black consciousness is. Can't nobody do what I do on that mic.
Let me ask you this question. Because I feel like there's somebody out there saying, you know, but isn't it about unity? Isn't it about coming together? Do you feel
it is about unity? But what I'm not going to do, it's not my job to put Band-Aids on your ego scars in order to work with you. I'm not putting Band-Aids on nobody's ego scar. And another thing I'm not going to do, I will not unite with a hater. I will not unite with a hater. Somebody
break that down. That's important right there. That's important because in this conscious community, they always say, hey, unify. We need to be together.
I believe in unity.
Right.
But you can't unify with people who are diametrically opposed to your success. Listen. The saying, when they say keep your enemies close, I understand that in certain respects. But when it comes to Black consciousness, brother, I don't want my enemies anywhere around me. Do you understand me? Yeah. I don't want them nowhere around me. Once I know you a hater, or once I know you cool with a hater, I'm done with you. Because see, here's what a lot of people want to do. They'll say, Dr. Umar, I'm cool with you and I'm cool with him. Then you're not cool with me no more. Well, what do you mean? Why can't I support both of y'all? Because he's not simply someone who disagrees. You can be cool with a brother who disagrees with Dr. Umar. There's no way you can be a Dr. Umar supporter and you cool with a brother who is actively part of a campaign to assassinate my character and destroy my work. How can you serve two masters? How now if he just disagrees, listen, I disagree with Dr. Umar. I wish him well, but I disagree with certain things. I think it's okay for a brother to get a white wife if that's what he wants. I think it's okay for a Black organization to get some white money from the government if that's what they want. That's okay because it's a disagreement. He's not trying to destroy me. But if you claim to be a supporter of mine and you're friends with people trying to destroy me, then you a phony and an infiltrator. And I'm going to tell you to get the hell away from me. No. Malcolm X was set up by the inner circle. Honorable Marcus Garvey set up by the inner circle. Dr. King set up by the inner circle. Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba. Most of our heroes were murdered by people who they trusted. I'm not going to get caught in that trap. You're going to prove your loyalty to me. I have children to live for. I have a mother to live for, and I got a race to live for. My life ain't cheap. You ain't catching me up in no nonsense over no jealousy. Nah, I don't. You either for me or you not, and I make it that way on purpose. You can't be neutral with Dr. Umar. There's no neutral. You love him or you hate him. When somebody say I'm neutral, you a liar. Ain't no neutral with Dr. Umar. You love him or you hate him. And if you hate me, no problem. Stay the hell away from me. Keep moving. See, here's the contradiction of the haters. If this man is what you claim him to be, why is he the subject of every YouTube video? Listen, there was a live stream yesterday. Everybody hit me up. Some female coon on YouTube did a 2-3 hour seminar bashing me. And she invited all the Umar here. I never saw the sister in my life. Perm, weave, blonde hair. Listen, bro, I can name you 25 YouTube pages. I can name you 25 YouTube pages where I am 90% of the content or more. And you know what's sad? Most of these pages are controlled by men, Black men. You mean to tell me your life is so unfulfilling? You mean to tell me your self-esteem is so low that the only thing you can talk about all day long on YouTube is this one man who you claim is a phony and a fake.
Mm-hmm.
This one man has your life so disorganized that he's the only, bro, I ain't never made no video about another man unless I had to clap back every once in a while.
Right. And I want to ask this question, man, because I think it's important, because people have always wondered why you clap back and why why you respond and all of this. And I've even, back in 2015, brother, I say, Brett, don't even worry about it. Don't speak about it. But I realized and I understand that people are using your name. And I Googled this, and people can check this out. You are not only one of the top entities on YouTube, but in terms of people building their brands and utilizing you for their films, for their interviews, and whatever the case may be, you somewhere in the mix.
Oh, of course. I got 3 texts this week. Let's check this out. I got 3 random text messages this week, right? I was on 3 network shows. This is regular television, regular TV. They took clips of my speeches without my permission and used it on 3 series on network TV. I never heard of none of the series because I don't watch regular TV. I'm too busy, right? But people say, Doc, you need to go on HBO Max and look up this show. They just played a clip of you on the show as part of the episode. Somebody sent me another one. Doc, you was on this show. Doc, you was on this show. So now they're using my content on all these different shows. Yes, without my permission. They're not reaching out to me or nothing like that, brother. So I know I'm part of the conversation. I
wanted to ask this, because I think this is
I'm the only scholar who gets views like a rapper on the Breakfast Club. I'm the only one.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
You can put your top rapper on there before me. Bring me after your top rapper. I'm going to kill him on the views because I'm coming with that Garvey truth. When I drop that Garvey grenade, everybody get out the way. When I come with the Garvey grenade, it's over. I don't care who you are, what you teaching, what you represent. It's Garvey all over again, black man. It's Garvey all over again. They couldn't touch this Leo, and they can't touch this Leo. Leo to Leo. Let's ball. Let's ball.
And that bravado right there is important, because I wanted to bring up this as well. A lot of the haters, they mention the school, the donations, the this, the that, the this and that. And just being real.
In other words, the IRS needs them to help them monitor my activity. I want you to think about this now. The IRS needs the YouTubian universe to help them monitor me. Listen to how slick that sounds. How ridiculous that is.
My question is, do you ever sit back and say, damn, why don't they have the same energy for the banks? And this is fact. The banks got money from the federal government. The federal regulators gave them money and allowed them to overdraw their accounts with the federal government. And they said, all we ask that you do is you give your customers and clients that same privilege to be overdrawn. And do you know they didn't give anyone that privilege? They got billions. I'm not talking about 1 billion, 2 billion, to potentially $3 to $4 billion off overdraft fees, and that primarily affects Hispanic and Black people. And I don't see anybody doing videos on that. I don't want to see no more videos on Umar and the little money they talking about.
Right.
What I'm saying is, let's focus on the real issues and the real culprits. So I want to get your thoughts on that, as well as to segue that in the importance of institution building for our most precious resource, and that's our human resource of children.
The issue with the fundraising is that most of your so-called conscious personalities have all had fundraisers. None of them have raised the amount of money we did. And it shouldn't be a problem, because I'm not raising money for a documentary. I'm not raising money to buy a new car. I'm not raising money for my travel expenses. I'm not raising money for my personal library. The Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy is for our children. And after I'm long gone and dead, the school will still be serving our children. So why do you have a problem with the brother raising money to build an institution to serve our children, especially when you look at the special education rates for Black children, when you look at the psychiatric medication rates for Black children, when you look at the ADHD diagnoses rates for Black children, you look at the graduation rates for Black children, the test scores for Black children. I mean, only 1 out of every 4 Black boys is graduating in America. 1 out of 4. You got a 25% graduation rate, and you worrying about him? What are you doing? See, when people throw the question to me, brother, I throw it right back. What are you doing to build an institution to serve your people? That's the question I got for any critic I have. Because if you're building something, you can criticize me. But if you're not an institution builder, you can't criticize me. You talking about HVAC like you know it. When you ever been in charge of repairing the HVAC for a commercial building? You notice how everybody's an expert on the renovation of FDMG, but they never renovated anything. They can break it all down. You see? And I ain't gonna lie to you, brother. I be laughing sometimes because it's funny, but it's sickening at the same time. Because you got 25 to 50 people who are experts on how to build a school, but they haven't built one. What is the best way to prove Dr. Umar doesn't know what he's doing? Build a school and show it. None of them have a school. You got one coon up in New York talking about he got a school. It's an after-school program, brother. That ain't no damn school. You ain't licensed by the state of New York to be graduating children. You're a liar. You got an after-school club. I'm not knocking you. You serving the kids. I salute you. But it's not a school. But he going around acting like he got a school, and everybody's saying he got a school. It is not a school. It's a club. It's a program. That's not no damn school. You see? But I don't mind it, though, because the hate makes me work harder. The hate motivates me. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to be honest with you. The more hate I get, the sharper I become. You know what I mean? The hate is sharper than the Ogun sword.
You're using it as fuel.
I'm using it as fuel, so they wouldn't keep hating, just keep away. They didn't threw everything at me, bro. It's nothing they ain't accused me of. Nothing under the sun. And I'm still here. Because I believe my mission comes from above. I literally believe that. I don't think it's a coincidence I related to Frederick Douglass. It ain't a coincidence I'm born in the anniversary of the Haitian Revolution and the Nat Turner War. It ain't a coincidence I'm born a couple days after Marcus Garvey. None of these are coincidences. I'm here to do the work.
And what is the work, brother? What is the work?
The work is the liberation of African people by any means necessary. And my particular contribution will be in the field of education and mental health.
And these are critical areas due to all of the denigration and the pathology that's happened to particularly Black children. Our ancestor, Dr. Amos Wilson, I always love to bring him into the equation.
The greatest Black scholar of the second half of the 20th century, hands down, Dr. Amos Wilson. Can't nobody touch him.
Can't nobody touch him. He talked about awakening the genius of Black children. And I think that's what your work is doing. And I've seen it first and foremost. I'm not, you know, we know each other in real life. So it's like, I've seen you work with children. I've seen you have those parent conferences. I've had women tell me, I brought my son. I learned things from him. Now I know how to deal with my school. And one of the things that our people don't know, because they're not getting enough information, is schools are more segregated now than they were in 1964.
Absolutely.
And the Voting Rights Act just on Friday, while Black folk was celebrating, getting ready for 4th of July, the Voting Rights Act has been gutted by the Supreme Court. This majority of conservatives have gutted it due to the Arizona laws and other laws that have been restrictive on Black people to stop us from exercising our rights that were given to us by the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. And they have been totally decimated and destroyed. And many of our people don't know this because we're so busy looking at, YouTube and trying to find, Leon Honor and all these others that are hating rather than understanding. I didn't mention that brother's name, but I just put it out there.
Don't mention their names. Don't even give them that credit. That's what they want.
Right.
That's what they want.
Right. So I just want you to talk about your work awakening Black children and how specifically.
Well, here's the thing. I have something I call the prophecies of Ifa Tunde, where I predict upcoming political phenomena. I haven't been wrong with none of them yet in 20 years.
Wait a minute, man. Wait a minute. Break it down. You got to break that down.
I'll give you one right off the top.
It's happened.
I'll give you one right off the top. 2005, I started doing a free lecture series at the African American Museum in Philadelphia. I predicted that homosexuality will be taught in public school to children. It will be openly advocated. They called me an alarmist and an exaggerator. That was in 2005. Barack Obama takes office 4 years later in 2009. And what I predicted in 2005 came true in 2009. And look what's happening right now. They are teaching preschool kids about same-sex relationships. In Chicago, some of the schools are teaching the kids how to use anal condoms. Anal condoms. I received the communication the other day. There's a school, I forget what state it's in. They're teaching the kids about masturbation.
That's right.
As a form of safe sex. Now, here's the question. These are prepubescent babies. Prepubescent. You know what that means? That means the body has not yet undergone the necessary changes that allows one to engage in sexual behavior with the objective of repopulation. The urge to have sex is a biological call from Mother Nature to reproduce yourself as a means of safeguarding the survival of your species. Prepubescent children have not yet received the call from Mother Nature to reproduce themselves. So there's no sexual urges in a 3-year-old. There's no sexual urges in a 5-year-old. There's no sexual urges in a 9-year-old. So why are you teaching 3, 5, 7, and 9-year-old children about sex at all? Same sex or heterosexuality? Because you want to indoctrinate them at such a young age. So by the time they go through puberty and start being sexually attracted to the opposite sex, you would have already confused them so much that that sexual attraction is now being redirected back dysfunctionally to their own gender. This is social engineering for population control. If you go back to my 2010 lectures, if you go back to my 2010, 2012 lectures, I spent a lot of time on the LBGT movement. A lot of people dismissed it. 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right before I blew, I talked about this, and look at it. It's all here now a decade later. The seeds that I planted have been proven to be true 10 years. Everybody's tech. Dr. Umar, I just saw a lecture. You predicted this at your Black and Nobel lecture in 2009, and it's happening right now. You predicted it. I ain't been wrong yet, man. Because listen, racism is a science. Science operates according to defined laws. Any science can be predicted because it operates according to very disciplined law. So if you understand the law of racism, you automatically know what racism is going to do. It's like understanding the universe. If you understand the science of the universe, you know the trajectory of Pluto. You know the trajectory of Mercury. You know the next eclipse. You know the next full moon. You know the summer solstice. You can predict it because any science can be laid down to a set of laws. So I knew they was going to come with the LGBTQ. But here's the kicker. While they're indoctrinating our children with same-sex ideology, they're passing laws to make it illegal to teach about slavery. And Texas is the leader. Texas is the leader. Texas is the leader. They're taking out from the history books in the Texas state curriculum the teaching of slavery. And they're referring to Africans as immigrants and indentured servants. But that's not the only thing they're doing. Not only are they taking out the teaching of slavery, they're also preventing the teaching of racism. And right now in Congress, they are in discussion to make it illegal in the United States of America to teach public and charter school children about white supremacy. You cannot teach about racism. You cannot teach about slavery, but you can teach about same-sex and LBGTism.
Wow. You are
And,
saying,
and they wonder why. They
mm-hmm.
wonder why I'm building the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. The
One
Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy is about the survival of the race, because it is about the reclamation of the consciousness of Black children. If we lose the minds of our babies, we're done as a people. We cannot lose the mind. If you can convince the Black boy that he'd be better off with a white girl or another Black man, we're done. If you convince the Black girl that she's better off with a white man or another Black girl, we're done. This is not about same-sex freedom. This is about the extermination of an unwanted people.
You know, you and I got to give you your kudos, because many people did not look at this. And I remember back in 2012, 2011, and definitely in 2015, you were talking about this openly. The geneticist that many of us learn about in school and teachers teach about, James Watson, co-discoverer of DNA's double helix structure, believed in scientific racism. He voiced racist beliefs. He talked about the differences in intelligence were racially based. And he talked about Blacks being actually of a lower order. And there were numerous others, from Hegel to Darwin, and all of this madness that we're seeing. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because many of our people don't understand and don't realize that much of what we're seeing even today is still based on those myths, based on that scientific racism, based on that madness. So when I see people say, oh, he ain't no psychologist because he don't talk like such and such, or he don't do like this and that, but you have to understand the system that they came
in. And then they'll say that, right? They'll say that, and Friday night they on my phone begging me for a call back about their child. Brother, here's my problem with my haters. Let's go back 10, 20 years ago. Remember when you was growing up as a child, teenager, if somebody didn't like you, you knew it and they stayed away from you. Remember that?
Facts.
There used to be a code for the haters. If you didn't like somebody, you didn't act like you did, and you stayed away.
Facts.
I need that code to return, brother. Because let me tell you what these Negroes will do. They did it to me in Houston. Last time I was in Houston, 3.5 years ago, Kwanzaa 2017, sold out event. I had a hater come to the Houston event, took a picture with me, got a book signed, took a picture, had a conversation, went home, jumped on Facebook and started hating on me. Yeah, I was there with him. I took a picture, you know what I mean? I wasn't impressed, And the brother was kissing my backside in front of my face, but couldn't wait to get back home and try to act like, he pulled up with some gangsterism. Nah, Negro, you ain't come that way because you would have got smacked down. I don't play them games. None of these haters come to my face with that. None of them. They talk all that YouTube. When I see him, I'm going to get him. When I see him, Negro, my schedule is public, bro. I'm everywhere. I walk the street solo, dolo. Ain't no army with me. Why you ain't tried me yet? Because I smack the piss out you come in my face the wrong way. I'm not playing with these coons. They coon on YouTube. Coon in my face one time and see what you're going to get. I wish one of them would try me. I wish one. They ain't tried me in 20 years and they ain't going to try me because I'm not for them games, man.
Let me ask
my
this
point is,
yeah,
they will hate and then call me about their children. Wait a minute. You said I'm not a psychologist. So if I'm not a psychologist, why are you calling me to help you save your baby? Look at there's so much hypocrisy amongst the American Negro, brother. It's ridiculous. That's why I had to put the Book of Negroes together. That's why we got the Book of Negro. We got a book of haters. They will not be allowed at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. They better not show up at the boot camp. Excuse me. They better not show up at the block party because you'll be thrown out. We're not playing them games. If you don't like me, you have a right not to like me, but you are not going to hate behind my back and smile in my face. Welcome to the Book of Negroes.
The reason why I want to bring that up is to crystallize in the minds of our people is that we have a fractured consciousness, and we have been told a lot of mis and disinformation. So we perceive those who have wisdom and knowledge as someone in a three-piece suit that doesn't raise their voice, that says everything that we want to hear. And ultimately, if we judge it based on the merit, based on what the actual information results and creates. It's nothing but deception and lies. Because even as the good book says, the shepherd will die for the sheep and will do the things that the Highlander won't do. And I think it's important for us to take this moment to break this down, because as you went around the entire world, for that matter, talking about Pan-Africanism, talking about the social structures that exist, talking about the geopolitical dynamics that exist, you have been at the forefront and definitely one of the brothers who has talked about things that most people have shied away from. And you've said it in a way in which most don't have the courage nor the tact and articulation to express. And I think that's important, because people are always going to say, oh, see, I don't like how he said it. Oh, no, I wouldn't have done it that way. No, you wouldn't do it at all.
But you know what the issue is, right? The issue is I am the only, and I have to say mainstream, because even though I'm king of Black consciousness, because of the popularity, I am mainstream. You understand?
Right.
I'm the only scholar, notable scholar, public scholar in this country, Black, who holds our people to a standard of behavior. Nobody else holds our people to a standard of behavior. In other words, I'm the only scholar that I know of. If you know of another one, give me his name or her name, who says a Black man has no business dating anything other than a Black woman. I don't know of another Black scholar. I ain't say YouTubian. They are not scholars. Real scholars with real doctorate degrees. I'm the only one I know. Even if you want to throw in the conscious ones in there. Who out here saying Black men need to be with a Black woman and nobody else? They all make a little bit of room for you to go and get that snow bunny. They all make, don't you see? They all make a little bit of room. Dr. Umar is the only one, conscious community or mainstream scholar, who is holding Black men and women to a standard of behavior. I'm the only one who tell Black women, you ain't got no business with no weave or no perm in your damn head. I'm the only one. And you know why they piss, Black men? You know why they piss? They want to know how this man who tells Black women to cut the weave and perm out, this man who tells the Black man he should not be with the white woman and nobody else, how in the hell can he be the most popular scholar in the world with the type of views that he got? I didn't change the damn game. I didn't change. The most controversial scholar is the most popular scholar. The most controversial scholar got 1 million views on a Breakfast Club in 12 hours. The rappers don't even do them numbers, bruh. So they say, how do we stop him? He don't work for the white man. You can't stop me. I don't work for the white man. See, they're always looking, how can we get him? Who can we get him? Bro, I'm not no Mason. I'm not a homosexual. I don't belong to no secret societies. I'm not in no fraternities. I don't belong to no church, no mosque. There's nobody you gonna call who gonna pick up the phone and call me and say, bro, we need you to stop talking about the LBGTQ. Stop telling Black men they can't date out the race. Stop talking about the perms, man. You know, just calm down with the Black women and the blonde hair, brother, you know. Nah, bro, can't nobody call this phone and tell me shit. I run this life. I run this movement. I ain't following nobody. But yet, with my so-called controversial views, I'm a must-see ticket.
Wow.
I must see. I am must-see TV. If I'm in London, I must see. If I'm in China, I must see. If I'm in Canada, I must see. If I'm in Jamaica, I must see. If I'm in Texas, I must see. How the hell is he number one with the views that he got? Because the ancestors put me here. Deal with it.
Now, let me ask you this, for those brothers and sisters out there that say, well, you know, what about the Native Americans? What about the Indians?
I wish them all well. But my priority is African liberation.
Facts.
Native Americans, I wish you well. Latinos, I wish you well. Chinese, Arabs, East Indians, I wish you well. But my priority is African people. Once we fix our situation, then we can go help somebody else. But I'm not holding hands with nobody, because there's not a race of people who have ever come to this country that have helped Black folks. If you can name one, tell me who. Who has ever come here to help us? Have the Chinese ever have a movement to support Black folks? Have the European Jews ever had a movement to support Black folks? Have the Latinos ever had a movement to support Black folks? Have the Arabs ever had a movement to support Black folks? Has the LBGTQ ever had a movement to support black folks? Has the white feminists ever had a movement to support black folks? Hell no. Ain't nobody ever supported us. So don't be telling me I got to be no multiculturalist. I ain't no damn multiculturalist. I'm a Pan-Africanist.
I want to ask this as a Pan-Africanist, when you see over 6 million teens aged 12 to 17 have taken either prescription painkillers or prescription stimulants in their life, and the average age of a first-time user is 13 years of age or 13 years old, with 1 in 5 teens before 14 taking some form of prescription drug. And we're seeing even more with the pandemic and the post-pandemic experience. More young people and even more adults are being affected by anxiety, by depression, and by a lot more stress of wondering and dealing with some of the things that have happened courtesy of COVID-19 and the loss and the struggle and the strain and suffering that's happened as well. From your clinical perspective, what would you say that would help us begin to not only deal with these things in a way in which will help us cope, but we can begin to better understand? Because I'm not saying that I'm anti-pill. Maybe some people might need that, but I think that skills.
I'm anti-pill, except for 3 purposes: suicidal thinking, homicidal thinking, and psychotic conditions. If a child is not homicidal, suicidal, or psychotic, I can't think of a reason why the hell they need some medicine for brain problems. You understand me? Yes. You got millions of autistic children taking drugs. But here's the question. Autism doesn't have a cure. Autism doesn't have a cure. So if autism doesn't have a cure, why are so many autistic children taking drugs? You know why? Because teachers don't want to deal with the misbehavior that comes from the frustration an autistic child suffers from not being able to communicate verbally or non-verbally as well as other children. Do you feel me?
Yeah.
So the teacher says, I need him on some medication because I can't deal with the anger or the mood swing. Here's the essential problem Dr. Umar has with the childhood psychiatric drug movement. The essential issue that I have with the childhood psychiatric drug movement is that children are not self-referring for medication. In other words, if you want some meds, my brother, if they give you some Ritalin, if that Ritalin leads to problems with you thinking or sleeping or eating, you stop taking it because you are an adult.
Perhaps.
But if you give it to an 8-year-old, he has no authority over his life to stop taking the pill. He will continue to take the pill because the adults in his life gave him the pill. And they didn't give him the pill because he wanted the pill. They gave him the pill because they wanted him to have the pill to make their life easier. Let me say this again. The childhood psychiatric drugging of Black children, in my opinion, is a human rights abuse because you have adults forcing medication on children. You have adults forcing medication on children that the children don't need and did not ask for because the adults don't want to be bothered. And let me also say this. The opioid crisis in America. The opioid crisis in America is a direct result of the ADHD crisis in America. These 22-year-old kids and 23-year-old kids who out here killing themselves with opioid abuse, how did they get introduced to medication in the first place? You know how they got introduced? In grade school with Ritalin, in grade school with Adderall, in grade school with Concerta, in grade school with Metadate, in grade school with Prozac, in grade school with Zoloft, in grade school with Risperdal. And they were taking those drugs from 5th grade through 8th grade, from 8th grade through 12th grade, and they got so used to getting high, and then they developed a biological addiction to the drug that when they graduated high school and mommy and daddy's insurance no longer supported the Ritalin and Zoloft prescription, they went to the street dealer. They went to the street dealer to get crack and amphetamines and opioids to feed the addiction that started in middle school with the ADHD drugs, brother. The media, if you notice, when the media talks about the opioid crisis, the media is not tying the opioid crisis of today to the ADHD crisis of yesterday. The opioid crisis is the other side. It's the other side of the ADHD crisis. But the media won't say that because the drug companies pay them not to. We have been had, hoodwinked, bamboozled, run amok, and led astray.
Whew. Wow. I have to ask this question about the
Let me say this, brother Seth, before
Please.
you ask that question.
Go ahead, brother.
Let me let the listeners know that if you want to support the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, and thank you, the Cash App was already up there, but it's $FDMG School. I repeat, $FDMG School on your Cash App. Please donate. We don't have only one school. We got 2 schools. We don't have only 2 schools. We got 4 buildings. And when we're done the renovations of FDMG, brother said, the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy will be the largest independent Black school in America. Maybe not ever, but definitely right now. There's no other independent Black school, not charter. I said truly independent. No money from white sources of government. Truly independent. We are truly independent. No money from white sources of government. No other independent school has 2 school buildings. No other independent school has 2 gyms. No other independent school has the whole block to themselves. So once we're done, we will be the largest independent school in the country. We're already the first independent school to be financed by African people from every continent. The only other person who may have opened a school that was funded by African people from every continent, you got to go back 100 years to the most honorable Marcus Garvey himself. So we made history in a school not even open yet. But let me say this. In addition to donating on the Cash App, $FDMG School, they can also donate on the PayPal. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. I repeat, PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. And if you want to mail in your donation, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. You can also go to drumarjohnson.com and sign up for the Loyal Donors Club. Loyal donors are those who are committed enough to make an automatic monthly contribution to the school, automatic deduction. $50 is Bronze Club, $100 is Silver Club, $250 is Gold Club, $500 is Platinum Club, and $1,000 is Diamond Club. So if you want to join Loyal Donors, please go to my website and do that. But we are in the brink of making history. My goal, brother said, is to have the Marcus Garvey building done by Kwanzaa. I want to have a grand opening for Kwanzaa with a Kwanzaa conference. So all 10 classrooms will have different scholars in there teaching. A week-long celebration to honor the fact that Black people have built an independent school for their children, and they didn't ask a penny from the government or any other white donor. And let me say this, just to give them the schedule. So Dr. Umar will be in Houston, Texas this Saturday at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. I repeat, Dr. Umar will be in Houston, Texas this Saturday, Shrine of the Black Madonna, July 10th, 2 to 8, free event, bring the children. I will be releasing a new book, Black Parent Advocate, The Art of War for Dealing with America's Public and Charter Schools. It is the first encyclopedia for Black parents that teaches them how to respond to the school system whenever the school is trying to take advantage of their child. What do you do, brother said, if they say we want to test them for ADHD? What do you do, brother said, if they say we think your son is autistic? What do you do if they say we want to expel your child? What do you do if they say he didn't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance? What do you do if they say he's having behavior problems? I tell you exactly how to address those problems. That's the first half of the book, sample letters that parents can use to address the schools. And the second half of the book, brother said, is I teach them how to read and understand some of the most prevalent documents that they're likely to see from the school. So I teach them how to read and understand the psychological evaluation report. I teach them how to read and understand the IEP. I teach them how to read and understand the behavior plan. I teach them how to read and understand the pre-referral intervention plan. There's a whole chapter on homeschooling your child. There's a whole chapter on how to deal with behavior without medication. There's another whole chapter on how to conduct yourself at a meeting as a Black parent. So the Black Parent Advocate book, 550 pages. 550 pages of power that every Black parent in Texas needs. Come and get your book in Houston, Saturday from 2 to 8, Shrine of the Black Madonna. Come and get your book in Dallas, Texas, Sunday, July 11th, 2 to 8, Aldi's Afribian Restaurant, 7879 Spring Valley Road. Both events are free. And then, Brother Said, I'm off to Miami, Saturday, July 24th, Miami, Florida. Sunday, July 25th, Austin, Texas. And then I'm in Kenosha, Wisconsin, at the request of Brother Jacob Blake, who was shot in the back and paralyzed by the police last year, August 23rd of 2020. His father requested that I come to Kenosha and stand in solidarity with him and his son during the march and protest, which will be on my solar return, which is the 190th anniversary of the Nat Turner War, and it is the anniversary of the Haitian Revolution, and it is the anniversary of the George Jackson War against mass incarceration. So as you know, I'm usually in Nat Turner Land, Virginia, August 21st. That's where I've been the last 10 years. But this Nat Turner year, I won't be in Nat Turner Land. I'm bringing the Nat Turner Army with me to Kenosha, Wisconsin, and we're going to stand in solidarity with Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and we're going to bring in the Nat Turner anniversary in Kenosha on Saturday, August the 21st. August 14th, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky to keynote the Honorable Marcus Garvey birthday. August 15th, I am in Macon, Georgia to keynote the Honorable Marcus Garvey birthday. And I might be in Denver, Colorado on Friday the 13th. And I'm going to play Jason for Marcus Garvey birthday celebration. And then we go back to the United States Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Croix. My Rastafari brothers and sisters have invited me to St. Croix to celebrate the 84th anniversary of the Ethiopian World Federation, the organization that was founded when His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie in the Kingdom of Ethiopia was suddenly and forcibly invaded by Mussolini and the Italians. The EWF was formed because Africans in America and across the world wanted to go to Ethiopia and fight to protect our only sovereign government that had never been conquered by the white man. And so the EWF was created as a reaction to Mussolini's invasion, and we will be celebrating 84 years of the EWF, St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. Tim Duncan, get out the way because the island is mine on August the 28th.
The Prince of Pan-Africanism coming in, doing your thing. I just want to illustrate this point. The pharmaceuticals do not want you to do all the things that you just mentioned.
I think the pharmaceuticals are the reason I received a letter from the Attorney General of Pennsylvania a couple months ago. When my book first released, the new book, Chicago, 10-year anniversary, September 18th, 2020, I got a letter in the mail as soon as I advertised the book from the Attorney General that said, if you do not stop engaging in bigoted speech, we're going to strip you of your credentials.
What?
Brother said, is it a coincidence that the same week I start advertising the new book, teaching parents how to fight back against the pharmaceuticals, fight back against the psychiatrists, fight back against the psychological evaluation, fight back against the school system, the same week I advertise my new book, I get a threat from the Attorney General of Pennsylvania.
What?
You know, yes, Brother said. And you know what I think that means? I think that means that Dr. Umar's message has traveled so far and wide that the drug companies are beginning to see an impact on their sales. Don't get me wrong. They still making billions. But you know, to $1 billion company, a loss of 1%, could be $250,000 in revenue. You understand? So I believe that my work is more effective than I could ever understand because I don't get the statistics that the drug companies get. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't get the statistics that the American Psychiatric Association get. I don't get the statistics that the American Psychological Association gets. So my work is probably more powerful than I even knew, because why am I being threatened? by the Attorney General with my credentials being taken away if I don't stop engaging in bigoted speech. But here's the thing, my brother said, they never gave me an example of what the bigoted speech was. They never state what exactly was bigoted speech. What did I say that was so bigoted that you had to threaten me? But I'm not worrying about the Attorney General, because 100 years ago, an Attorney General told Marcus Garvey that if he don't stop, they're going to deport him from America, but he didn't stop. If the Attorney General couldn't stop Garvey, the Attorney General can't stop the Prince of Pan-Africanism. Let's ball. Let's ball.
I love it, man. I love it. And you are paternal kinsfolk of
Kinsman, and let me break that down.
Yes, please.
Let me break it down, because you're talking about the great one. You're talking about the great one, Frederick Douglass. I'm a little crooked. All right. I keep them up here with my altar, Freddie and Marcus, because those are the two spirit guides of the political work that I do. And I got others. Can't go nowhere without Queen Mother Harriet. I got Booker T. I got all kind of people. But let me say this. How am I related to Frederick Douglass? Frederick Douglass was born in February of 1818. His mother, my Aunt Harriet, was raped by the slave master. His father was a white man. My 4 times great-grandfather, a man by the name of Stephen Henry Bailey. Now, let me tell you who Stephen is. If you've ever read Frederick Douglass's first autobiography, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, he talks about growing up on Tuckahoe Creek with cousin Stephen. Cousin Stephen was born June of 1819. They're 1 year apart. His mother, my grandmother, young Betsy Bailey, was also raped by the slave master. We cannot prove it, but the rumor was the slave master raped both sisters, which was common in slavery. They raped all the women, right? So these cousins, Frederick and Stephen, whose mothers are sisters, are quite possibly brothers, because the slave master is their dad. Do you follow me so far?
Got you.
So my grandfather Stephen and Frederick are first cousins, and they remain close their entire life. When my grandfather Stephen and my grandmother Caroline celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary, 50th, Frederick Douglass gave them a Bible as a gift with all the names of their children inside. So Stephen and Fred were tight throughout life. Now, some people always ask me, you say you're a kinsman. Yes, I am not a descendant. I've never claimed to be descendant. I have more speeches on YouTube than any scholar alive. Find one time where I call Frederick Douglass my grandfather. Find one time where I say I was a descendant of Frederick Douglass. Find one time where I claim to have descended from Frederick Douglass. I want to clarify this.
Yeah.
Because they say he says he was a descendant. Why can't you find the soundbite, brother? I got thousands of videos in the internet world. You can't find one where I called Frederick Douglass my grandfather. You can't find one where I said I was a descendant of Frederick Douglass. So I used to say Uncle Fred. Now I only say Cousin Fred. Why do I say Cousin Fred, and why did I stop saying Uncle Fred? Well, we already know why Cousin Fred, because I'm a descendant of Frederick's cousin, right? Yeah. Stephen Bailey, my 4 times great-grandfather. I used to say Uncle because there were 3 pieces of information that clearly communicated to me that Frederick and Stephen knew that they were brothers, not just cousins. These are the 3 pieces of information. Number 1, the rumor on the plantation that the slave master raped Aunt Harriet and Grandma Betsy. Remember now, the slave master didn't keep a record of who he raped. So you're not going to find no documentation that says, this is my son and this is my son, because we were not even considered people. You understand?
Facts.
So you're not going to find nothing on paper that says Frederick and Stephen are brothers, but the word has always been the slave master raped Harriet and Betsy, which automatically makes Stephen and Frederick brothers. You following me?
I'm with you.
That's information number one. Information number two, my 3 times great-grandfather, George Washington Bailey, born November 14th, 1841, 10 years after the Nat Turner War. He's the first Black public school teacher in Denton, Maryland. He writes a letter. He writes a letter to the slave master's family where he calls his father, Stephen Henry Bailey, the cousin of Fred, he calls his father, my 4 times great-grandfather, Frederick's brother.
He says
why would it's in the family, it's in the family book, brother. It's in the book. This is documented. Why would the son of Stephen call his father Frederick's brother if he was not Frederick's brother?
Right.
Third piece of information. When my 4 times great-grandfather, Stephen Henry Bailey, who was a member of the United States Colored Troops of Maryland in the Civil War, he was in the 19th Regiment. Do you know what that means? That means he was there when Robert E. Lee surrendered at the Appomattox. He was also in Texas with General Granger on June 19th, 1865. Yes. Regiment 19 was with Granger for Juneteenth. My grandfather was there for Juneteenth. Yes. And guess what? When he died in Denton, Maryland, 1894, Frederick dies in 1895. My grandfather was born a year after and died a year earlier. Guess what the obituary in the newspaper called Stephen Henry Bailey? Brother of Frederick Douglass dies.
No cap, no cap, no cap.
You can look it up, brother. It's online. It's online. They didn't say cousin of Frederick Douglass dies. They said brother of Frederick. So the newspaper called him brother. His son called him brother. And on a slave plantation, it was always rumored that the master was their daddy. So for me, brother said, coming from an African tradition of oral record, I have no doubt that they were cousins and brothers. But because of the hatred, brother said, because of the hate, I don't say Uncle Fred anymore. I say cousin. You know why? Because it doesn't matter to me if he an uncle or a cousin. The bottom line is he's a descendant of Isaac and Betsy Bailey, and I'm a descendant of Isaac and Betsy Bailey. So cut the cake however you want to cut the cake, but the same DNA in me is the same DNA in him. Eat that, haters.
You making these haters sick, man. Come on, man. You making them sick,
Eat
bro.
that, haters.
Man, you know, and I have to ask this because we've seen so many people put out Frederick Douglass. You know, what is the 4th of July to a slave? Enslaved, that's what I prefer to call it.
Probably the greatest revolutionary speech
break that down
ever given on American soil. He gave the speech tomorrow, July 5th, not 4th.
That's right.
So it was a day after, right?
Right.
And it was the white folks of Rochester, New York, who invited him in to celebrate. I want you to look at how radical Frederick was. The white folks are inviting you to honor the country. They want you to give a positive speech about the independence of the United States away from Britain. And instead of doing that, this brother walks into an audience full of white folks and condemns the most powerful government in the world. He said the 4th of July is nothing to the slave but a reminder of what race of savages you are. Could you imagine saying that to white folks' face in 1852? 1852, brother said. See, when the Honorable Marcus Garvey named his Black Star Line steamship, the first ship, the first Black Star liner, was named the SS Frederick Douglass?
Mm.
Why didn't he name it the SS Toussaint L'Ouverture or the SS Booker T or the SS Harriet Tubman? We have so many heroes. Marcus Garvey named the first Black Star liner the SS Frederick Douglass because even Garvey knew that had it not been for Fred, he wasn't alone, just like King wasn't alone. But had it not been for Fred, the progress we made from 65 until 1916 when Garvey showed up, we would have never made it.
Mm.
Garvey knew Frederick's connect. Not only that, even though Garvey was a Pan-Africanist and Frederick was a radical integrationist, there would have been no Garvey without Fred. You know why? Marcus Garvey's mentor in Jamaica was a brother by the name of Robert E. Love, I believe, if I'm not making the name wrong, from the Bahamas. He becomes Garvey's mentor, one of the earliest ones to teach Garvey Pan-Africanism.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? He fell into some trouble that Frederick Douglass got him out of.
Wow.
If Frederick Douglass doesn't get Robert Love out the trouble, brother said, he never gets the Garvey. Garvey may have never become the Pan-Africanist he was. There would have been no Marcus Garvey without Frederick Douglass. And these Negroes keep saying, why is he naming the school Frederick Douglass? And why is he naming the school after the greatest revolutionary integrationists? And then you have the greatest revolutionary Pan-Africanist. Because if it wasn't for Fred, there would have been no Marcus. And Marcus knew that. That's why he named the first ship the SS Frederick Douglass. See, Marcus Garveyism and Frederick Douglassism will be taught as classes at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey. Every child who graduates will be a Marcus Garvey scholar, a Frederick Douglass scholar. They'll be quoting speeches, quoting dates, quoting the timeline, brother. We not playing. They will be studying the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey in the 3rd grade. They will be reading What to the Negro is the 4th of July in the 3rd grade. We talk about intellectual insurrection. So when they hate brother said, I laugh because they don't know what we're about to do. We about to change forever the trajectory of education for Black children. You know what it reminds me of? You ever saw Shaka Zulu?
Absolutely.
Remember Shaka showed up on his father and kicked the door in?
Absolutely.
And he said, no, father, nothing will ever be like it was again.
Hey, man, you changing the game. I have to ask this question. What about if a student says, well, you know, Baba Doc Johnson, Frederick Douglass had a white wife. And that's what they always will say, you know.
Yes.
And how will you explain that to them?
Real simple. First of all, I'm going to make them recant that and pay respects first to Queen Mother Anna Douglass, because the woman who helped him escape from slavery to freedom, the woman who sewn the sailor's outfit that he wore, the woman who came up with the idea of the fake freedom paper was a blue, black, purple, broad-nosed, big lip, chocolate, natural head, Black woman. That's number one. That's number one. Let's get back to that. You don't skip over no queen for no devil. You don't skip over no queen. Anna Douglass stood by his side for 50 years, brother said. 50 years. She's the reason he got a chance to be what he was. She held down the children. She held down the Underground Railroad meetings. She was the one hiding the runaway slaves when he was off giving speeches and writing the newspaper. Anna Murray Douglass has not been given her proper place in Black history. Shame on Black women and shame on Black men. Because whenever we talk about Frederick Douglass, we never big up the Queen Mother who stood him up. We never big up the Queen Mother who had his back. We never big up the Queen Mother who took care of his business when he wasn't able to. We put 50 years of a Black queen to the side for about 10 years of an old, ugly white woman. Shame on us. Frederick Douglass married her when he was about 10 years from the grave. He was an old man when he married her. Was it right? Hell no, it was wrong. He should have never done that, but he did it. And so we have to have a conversation on contradictions. You understand?
Yes.
There are always contradictions in the liberation struggle because we are human beings. You understand?
Facts.
Dr.
Facts.
Umar Johnson isn't married yet. Some people would consider that a contradiction. So be it. Have the conversation. But that don't take away the millions I didn't save from the school system. If you want to talk about Frederick Douglass with the white woman, I will applaud you. He was wrong. He shouldn't have done it. Does that take away the fact that this is the black man who single-handedly destroyed the myth of African racial intellectual inferiority when he dropped Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, the first narrative where the slave names himself, his family, and his master? Does that take away the fact that he bombshelled the U.S. government on July 5th, 1852 with the "What to the Negro is the 4th of July" speech? Does that take away the fact that he gave 2 of his sons, Lewis and Charles, to the 54th Massachusetts Colored Regiment? He was willing to lose his 2 oldest sons for the liberation of black folks. Does it take away the fact that he was in London, England? White folks begged him not to come back to America. They said, Fred, stay here. You're a fugitive slave. They will kill you or send you back to your master. And he said, until my people are free, I'm not free. I must go back. Can't nobody tell me nothing about Frederick Douglass. Not a Negro who has ever criticized Frederick Douglass have done an ounce of what he's done. You ain't did an ounce of what Frederick Douglass did. Frederick Douglass, who went to Haiti as a U.S. ambassador and quit because the U.S. wanted to use Frederick Douglass to try to set Haiti up for a takeover. He said, I will not do it. And the Haitian government respected Frederick Douglass so much that they asked him to represent the country of Haiti at the World's Fair in Chicago. Can't nobody tell me nothing about Frederick Douglass. If you want to talk about the contradiction of the white woman, let's talk about it. But you better first give your flowers to Queen Mother Anna Douglass, because you will not escape past the queen for the devil. And that's facts.
Thank you for breaking that down. And I just wanted to break this down because I think this is so important what you just said, and it's so pivotal for people to understand, is that we don't have to act like we are walking on water when dealing with our leaders. And we have
There's not a leader ever who didn't have a contradiction.
Thank you.
Malcolm had a contradiction. King had a contradiction. Elijah Muhammad had contradiction. Honorable, you know why we got we are humans. Humans make mistakes. There will always be contradictions. The problem with the Negro, because of our self-hate, we need our leaders to be perfect. And because we need our leaders to be perfect, we'll never have any real ones. Let me say it one more time.
Say that again.
Let me say it one more time. Black people are the only people in the world who need their leaders to be perfect. And because we need them to be perfect, we will never have any.
Why do you think we need them to be perfect? Is it
because we need to be able to tear them down when we decide that we don't want to follow them no more? Listen, the hate that I get, brother said, is because I'm holding our people to a behavioral standard. I'm the only scholar who holds our people to a behavioral standard. Black people do not respect internal racial authority. Black people do not respect internal racial responsibility. Black people do not want internal racial accountability. Do you realize we're the only people in America, brother said, who have never used our money since Dr. King's murder? In the modern era, we have never used our money to bring about liberation. We will march, we will pray, we will protest, but we will never use our money in an organized fashion to bring about liberation. That is the contradiction of Black America. That is the contradiction of the conscious community. We want to talk about documentaries and books and festivals and debates and change my name and go to Africa, lock my hair, get a green smoothie, burn some incense. But when is your ass going to take your money, put it in a pot, so we can build that first Black hospital of the 21st century, that first Black supermarket of the 21st century, that first Black distribution network of the 21st century, that first Black manufacturing plant of the 21st century? Brother said, for all the consciousness we got, there's no Black Wall Street in America. There's nowhere you can go in this country and find a Black school that we owned, unfinanced by whites, a Black bank that we own, unfinanced by whites, a Black hospital that we own, unfinanced by whites, a Black manufacturing sector where we employ Black people, unfinanced by whites. But I could show you a Chinatown in every major city. I could show you a Little Italy in every major city. I could show you a Jewish community in every major city. I could show you Little Mexico. I can show you little Saudi Arabia. I can even show you little Vietnam. I can show you little Puerto Rico, but I can't show your ass little Africa nowhere in 50 United States because we are a contradiction.
Man, we are a contradiction. That is
We are a
powerful.
contradiction.
Man, that is powerful. So what that does is by focusing on your contradictions, now I put
they don't have to focus on that.
Thank you. So
We're
I
going
don't
to
have
make
to
Dr.
grow.
Umar the scapegoat.
Thank
so
you.
we never have to man up and woman up to our own economic responsibilities. Until we use the black dollar to achieve black power, we'll never get it. You need a organized black dollar to bring about organized black power. And I'm going to talk about this Saturday in Houston. Until you have organized black dollars, you'll never get organized black power. And that's why the white man ain't paying you no mind. Joe Biden ain't thinking about no Negroes. Neither is Kamala Harris, because they sit back and they watch and they say, Dr. King was killed in 68. We had 78 and 88 and 98 and 08 and 18. 53 years, brother said. It's been more than a half century. It's been more than a half century. And after more than a half century, we haven't built a single meaningful, relevant institution or economic system to liberate black folks. Until they see that money going towards things that are essential and critical, they'll never take us seriously.
I have to ask this question, brother, because you've been laying it down. You've been dropping it and doing a masterful job. First of all, before I do that, I have to be honest, because I think that this is something that black men have to do. I want to apologize to you, brother, because there was something you said many moons ago, maybe 2016, you talked about, because I asked you, I said, what's something across the country that you've seen that's very effective that black people, melanated people have done? And you said that they created a calendar in Kansas City, how they were able to work together and to use their events, use their festivals, use their activities collectively, sending group members to support each other, group economics, as well as building a geopolitical base to some degree, and also doing these things in an organized manner. And at the time, in my mind, I was thinking, I said, wow, this brother been all around the world. This is all he's seen, right? And I was kind of not minimizing that, but I didn't understand the full depth of our oppression, repression, suppression, depression, and pathology. And the reason why I bring this up is because I've seen many black people, if you're doing an event, somebody else will try to do an event right after you, or while you're doing something. Or if you're doing a community cleanup, they gonna have a community cleanup at the same time you have. Like this kind of fragmentation that we do, this kind of working against each other. So as you mentioned, talking about putting our economics together, economics is part of an ecology. Our whole entire ecology is going against each other. I guarantee when people found out you were going on a book tour, they said, ooh, I need to go on a tour. And I'm trying to compete against his tour to see if I can get people to come while he's coming. This is the kind of madness that we have. And I think it's important for brothers to say, hey, that was profound what you said, brother. And I think if we implemented that all across the nation, then we can begin to do those higher elevation things in a more effective and constructive way, because we'll put our egos to the side. We'll put all of this Negroism to the side, and then we'll begin to move forward as a people. So I definitely want to impress upon you the importance of what you said then. I didn't understand that fully then, but now I understand it more. And I also wanted to convey a spirit of, hey, I apologize. And I think that's important that brothers begin to do and show so that we can grow. So I definitely want you to hear that.
No problem, black man. Nothing but love.
Yes,
One
sir.
of the things I want to do at the school, once the Garvey building is ready, because once the Douglas building is ready, brother, we hold mega events in there. We hold mega events in the Douglas building. That thing is the Taj Mahal of black consciousness. Big modern gym, big giant classrooms, big hallways. We can do anything we want in the Frederick Douglass building. But the Marcus Garvey building ain't nothing to sneeze at either. When the Garvey building is done and the Nat Turner Jean-Jacques Dessalines Gymnasium is done, and I'm hoping the gym will be ready for the block party September 11th. But when it's done, I'm going to have an organizational, inter-ideological leadership roundtable, my brother. In other words, I want to bring a couple leaders from the Moorish Science Temple to the table, a couple leaders from the Nation of Islam to the table, a couple leaders from the Nawapians to the table, a couple Hebrews to the table, a couple black socialists to the table, New Black Panther Party to the table, all the relevant major movements. Let's sit down and see if there's a way we can cooperate and coordinate so we can liberate our people. Let's see if we can coordinate and cooperate so we can liberate the people. So I do plan to bring like minds to the table and say, listen, I'm a Pan-Africanist. I will never believe what you believe. And guess what? You will never believe what I believe. Right. You don't even think you're from Africa. We could take a blood test and kill that noise. But hey, I'm going to let you believe where you at. Can we still work together, though, on some level? In other words, brother said, I'm not just going to be at the top of the mountain, beating my chest like the King Kong that I am, looking down at the rest of them saying, listen, get down and lay down. This is Ifa Tunde law. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, come up to the mountain with me, my brother. Come up to the mountain. And if you are sincere about the people, I'm willing to work with some of you all. I'm willing to share the energy that the ancestors and the Most High and the people have given me so we can rise together, brother. I do not have a Messiah complex. I don't. I am very much about the collective, and I plan to find those who are of like minds. But if you come to my table and you try to undermine my authority, if you come to my table and you try to undermine my leadership, if you come to my table and you try to disrespect the Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Frederick Douglass, I'm going to throw your ass out the room because I already told you this is for solidarity. You're not bigger than me. You're not more popular than me. You'll never outdo me, ever. So don't even go there because you're going to lose. They've been doing it for 20 years. Nobody's won yet. Okay? Let's cooperate and coordinate so we can liberate the people. We're going to have an International Black Man's Conference, International Black Woman's Conference, International Black Love Conference, Pan-African Media Conference, Pan-African Business Conference, Pan-African Entrepreneurs. Brother, we're going to game change the lights. We will have a holistic healing conference, brother, where everybody who teaches holistic healing and everybody who sells holistic products for the body will be there, and you can come and buy everything you want. You want Dr. Sebi products? They right here. You want Dr. Laila Africa products? They right here. Once a month, my brother, I'm going to have a Black Wall Street. Once a month, I'm going to have a Black Wall Street where anybody who wants to buy black can come to FDMG and buy from all the black businesses in the country. So FDMG is a solution, my brother. It's a solution. The only people who won't partake in it, though, are those people who couldn't keep that self-hate inside. They just had to attack me. They just had to make a video about me. They just had to try to throw me under the bus because you're not invited. And the reason why I forgive you, I forgive them. I don't hold grudges, brother. I don't have no malice. But I can't let you on my campus because I know the minute I turn my back, you will try to undermine me. Thanks. That's why you in the book of Negroes. It's not because I'm holding a grudge. It's because I have an obligation to protect what the people have given me money to build. I have to protect FDMG. And that's why my enemies are not allowed there. It's not because I'm angry. It's not because I don't forgive them. It's because I know I can't trust your ass.
Correct. I want to ask this question, brother, because you're so profound, man, how you break things down. I know you got a chance to see Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yes.
Yes. And I would imagine that film maybe hit a little different for you because you understand the plight that Brother Fred, Chairman Fred, was going through, not just on a historical level, but on a visceral level, on a psychological level. You could understand what it's like to build something and to have something inside of you provided by the ancestors, provided by the Most High, and you're talking to people who don't understand, who don't get it, who don't realize what it is, the vision that you've been given and you have been allowed to partake in and to experience and to execute. And I think it's important that I ask this question for those who haven't seen the film and maybe who have. What did you feel when you saw what that brother was enduring and going through for the people and the plight that ultimately came upon him? And then this is the real nugget I want to ask is, in the film did you see how many Judases that there were. It wasn't just one. It wasn't just William O'Neill. It was a brother at the watering hole at the nightclub. It was a sister. It was a couple other people in the Panther organization. There were more ops and more Judases than anything in the film.
Yes, sir. And
I
still is. It hasn't
thank you.
changed.
That's the thing that I
It
wanted
hasn't
to ask.
changed.
Is just that how have you grown in terms of understanding what we're really up against? And then how can you convey to our people that those who come in the name of Black people might actually be working as agents, as ops, and also doing the work of our enemies, acting as if they are our friends?
And I was a student of Fred Hampton long before the movie. And because of that, and the movie was great, but because of that, I wish the movie didn't end with his murder. I felt that the directors and the producer should have extended the movie out to include the aftermath and the after investigation of Fred Hampton's murder. I believe that there was as much to learn from the investigation into his death that uncovered how the FBI cooperated with the Cook County Sheriff's Office and how they lied and said that of the 99 bullets that were shot in the home, only one bullet came from a Panther. And that bullet likely came from Brother Mark Clark, who was martyred with Brother Fred. And that bullet was shot most likely as a reaction to being shot himself. They did not show enough of the wickedness of how the murder was covered up by the FBI and by the Chicago Police Department and the Cook County Sheriff's Office. I think a lot of information was left out because they cut the story at the point of death. Now, I'm not criticizing because it was a great movie, but I wish they would have included the investigation into Fred's murder to reveal the extent of the participation. Because when I go back to the movie, they did talk about the FBI and they did talk about the sheriff's office, but I think the cover up would have really went a lot further to crystallize it in the minds of our people how demonic the white power structure of America is. And let me be clear, because I am a student of Black assassinations, Black political assassinations in political science. I was a political science major. So in studying Black assassinations, Malcolm, and Black overthrow, Black coups, Kwame Nkrumah, Marcus Garvey, three things I've learned about Black political assassinations and coups. Number one, the person who betrays us was always somewhat suspicious to us. But we gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Wow.
Fred Hampton saw some things in William O'Neill, but he overlooked it because William O'Neill had skills that the Panthers could benefit from. He was skilled in certain things. So he said, maybe not, I don't want to rush the judgment. So one of the things I've learned was you got to follow your first mind when it comes to your inner circle. Now, if they're not in your inner circle, you could give them a second chance. But the people who your life is dependent upon, if they make you a little shaky, you got to let them ride. Because most of our leaders were murdered by the people they trusted the most. Patrice Lumumba brought Mobutu in. He brought Mobutu in, and the same man he gave an opportunity to took his life.
That's right.
You see,
that's right. Thomas Sankara.
You look at Malcolm, and Malcolm knew that some of those in his security were not straight, but he let them ride anyway. You can't do that when your life is on it. So I study stuff like that, you know. And one thing I've learned in my own life, the biggest threat a woman provides to a Black man who's in the real freedom struggle is by running her mouth about their relationship because she wants to let other women know what her status is in his life. She ends up inadvertently saying too much to other people who can use some of what she said for character assassination or real assassination. So the women are a risk to the work because they talk too damn much. I'm going to tell my girlfriend. I'm going to tell my sister. I'm going to tell your mom. I don't know your mom, so you're not telling her shit. I don't know your sister, so you're not telling her shit. And the first time I found out you discussed us with them, you're done. Because if I can't trust you to keep your mouth shut about a relationship, I can't trust you to keep your mouth shut about nothing else. A man has to trust the woman that he's with.
Right.
Huey P. Newton was set up by the woman he was with. Marion Barry was set up by the woman he was with. Afeni Shakur was set up by the man that she was with. Tupac Shakur was set up by women he was with. That mouth of the black woman can be a black man's undoing. So I always study sisters for their talkativeness. Sisters who love attention, sit on YouTube all day taking pictures of themselves. You get on YouTube, you're like, damn, sister, you're fine. You are a gorgeous woman. But is there something else you can be doing with your life besides taking pictures? We saw your ass already. Are you doing anything for the children? Are you doing anything for the elders? Are you doing anything for the women? Are you doing anything for the men? A woman who is that intoxicated with her beauty is useless for my work. She's useless. A woman who just wants to be a damn video vixen, Instagram conscious Instagram model. I can't do nothing with you. You don't want to do no work. You just want to be seen. You see? So the women, it's their mouth and their thirst for a mate that can get you done in, politically or physically. With the brothers, it's a little different, brother said. With the brothers, it's the envy and the jealousy. See, for you to stand with a Malcolm, a Garvey, an Nkrumah, a Lumumba, a Medgar Evers, a Huey P. Newton, a Fred Hampton, a Khalid Abdul Muhammad, for you to stand with a brother like that, you got to be secure in your manhood.
That's right.
Because you're going to see people constantly run up to this man, telling him how much they love him. You're going to see men do it heterosexually. You're going to see men do it. You're going to see women fawn all over this man. They're going to bring him gifts and food and hugs, and they're going to be the finest women you ever seen. You see? And brother said, you got to be secure in your manhood.
That's right.
To be able to stand next to a man who gets that level of love.
Right.
And if you are not there for the right reasons, you will wake up one day jealous of that man. You will wake up one day envious of that man. Brother said, the reason I have so few brothers in my company is because being as popular and as loved as I am, and our people love Dr. Umar. Right. They love me. There's people who would die for me, brother, literally, all over the world too.
Right.
For you to be able to stand with a brother who get that kind of love, you got to be secure in your manhood. And if you're not, you'll wake up and you'll start hating on me. Brother said, I can name a dozen brothers right now, a dozen Judases who were once a part of my team, who I thought would be there until the end, who defected or had to be rejected. They either defected on their own or I had to reject them because they started tearing me down behind my back while they was acting like they supported me to my face. One thing that Marcus Garvey said, he said, leadership means blood, pain, and death. And he was right, brother. This is a very lonely road. You don't know how long this woman going to be loyal before she start running her damn mouth. And you don't know how long this brother going to be loyal before he start trying to tear you down. So how do you make peace with that, brother said? I'll tell you how you make peace with that. This is where Prophet Nat Turner has factored so prominently in my spiritual life. This is one of the reasons I've went down the Nat Turner land twice a year for the past 10 years. August 21st, my birthday, was the day that the war started. And November 11th, 11/11, is the date that he was hanged. We normally go down there to celebrate him and the whole army, not just Nat Turner, but Henry, Hark, Sam, Jack, Will, Cherry, all of them. Is because in Nat Turner and in the confessions of Nat Turner, we get a man who is at perfect peace with his mission and was at perfect peace with how that mission ended up. One of the most powerful verses in the Nat Turner Confessions is when he said, "A spirit spoke to me. A spirit spoke to me and said, 'Rise up and slay your enemies with their weapons.'"
That's right.
And I'm paraphrasing, but this is what he said. The Confessions is on the internet.
Right.
And Nat Turner said, the spirit said, "It might come rough, it might come smooth, but you must surely bear it. It might come rough, it might come smooth, but you must surely bear it." And on November the 5th or the 1st, November the 1st, when Nat Turner was interviewed by Thomas Gray, the white attorney who took the confessions, he asked him a question. He looked to Nat Turner, the prophet, and he said, "You claim to have been led by God. You have been captured. Most of your comrades have been captured, put to death. You will soon be put to death. Wouldn't you have to admit that you were mistaken in your interpretation of this work?" Nat Turner looked up at that devil, and in total calm repose, he said, quote, "Even Jesus Christ had to be crucified."
Ooh, he showed
Brother
this.
said, this is
He said
1831. The Civil War is 30 years away. He's locked up, brother said, chains on, condemned to die by public execution. And he got the unapologetically African nerve. Nat Turner had the unapologetically African nerve to look up at this white man, condemned in a prison, loaded with chains, looks him in his face and says, "No, even Jesus Christ had to be crucified." It is Nat Turner who gives Dr. Umar, through God, through my ancestor, Nat Turner, is who gives Dr. Umar the perfect peace that transcends all understanding. When I'm traveling to Houston and I know I got enemies there, and I'm traveling to Dallas and I know I got enemies there, and I'm traveling to Miami and Louisville and Macon and St. Croix and Indiana and Chicago and Detroit and Africa and Ghana, Nigeria, China, Japan, Canada, London, and I know I have enemies there. But Nat Turner has taught me that if it is meant for you to win, you're going to win. Woo. And if it is meant for you to die, you're going to die. So do the damn work that God has put before you and leave the rest to the Creator. In the East Indian spiritual tradition of the Vedas, and this is African, by the way, how do we know that the East Indian spiritual system is African? Because the white Greeks wrote it down and said Africa has two great civilizations, Egypt in the north and India in the south. Egypt in the north and India in the south. So in the Vedic system, which is identical to the Kemetic system, in the Gita, Krishna, who was also born August the 21st, he says, whatever work you do it as a sacrifice to the Almighty. Whatever work you do it as a sacrifice and an offering to the Almighty. Because if you do it as a sacrifice and an offering to the Almighty, you need not be concerned with the outcome. Because the end of everything is decided by the Creator, brother said. The end of everything. So I don't know. People say, is the school going to work or not? I don't know. And I don't care. You know why? My job is to do the work. God will decide the outcome.
Man, that is powerful. And the outcome, I think, will be a good one because, brother, you are doing a yeoman's work and dealing with so much. People have no idea the stress.
They have no idea. It's a constant war, brother. Every day I'm dealing with something.
Every single day, man. Every single day. And you know what's really, and I want to.
In fact, brother said the haters, they reach out to every event I speak at, right? They've been doing this since 2015. They've already contacted the Shrine of the Black Madonna, begging them not to let me come. They've already contacted Aldi's, a Caribbean restaurant, begging me not to come. You see this? So as we have this conversation to prepare for Saturday and Sunday in Houston and Dallas, haters are trying to force the institutions that are welcoming me in to not allow me to be there. Why would you do that if you know that this man is the only one or the main one fighting to save our children? Why would you do this? Because they don't care about our children. They don't care about the race. They are evil. They are envious. They are black devils. See, brother said we have black devils in the community too. We know about the white devil,
Right.
but we got some damn black devils. But that's all right. Bring the damn devil, because I'm the black God that's going to slay the damn devil.
Before we go, man, and I really appreciate you for your time, brother.
And let me also give out my cell number, brothers and sisters who need to text me. If you want the flyer, if you want the flyer for Houston, if you want the flyer for Dallas, if you want the flyer for Austin, if you want the flyer for Miami, if you want the flyer for St. Croix, Virgin Islands, if you want the flyer for Kenosha, Wisconsin, August 21st, 190th memorial of the Nat Turner War, Haitian Revolution, and George Jackson War. If you want the flyer for, who else I got coming up? Boot Camp, New York City, Black Parent Know Your School Rights Boot Camp, October 2nd. Send me the flyer for that. Also, brother said, let me say this. I'm in Houston Saturday, God willing. I'm in Dallas Sunday, God willing. I will be coming back to Texas before the year is out. To do the 12-hour Texas State Black Parent Boot Camp. We were going to do it April of 2020 until COVID hit.
That's right.
It was going to be in Dallas at the Martin Luther King Center. COVID hit, we had to cancel. So I want all my Black Texas people to know that. Those of you who want the 12-hour Dr. Umar Black Parent Training, brother said, we start at 8 in the morning and we go to 8 at night. We start at 8 in the morning, 12 hours. That's why we call it a boot camp. And I'm training. They at a desk with papers. This is an intensive class. They got a stack of paperwork like this, brother said. They got the whole special ed law in their hand. I'm teaching them the disabilities. I'm teaching them the IEP, the 504, the FERPA laws, the due process, the private schools, the psych eval. Nobody else is doing this but me in the country for Black parents. Let me say that one more time. Nobody else is doing this like me for Black parents, the 12-hour boot camp. So after we do the book release and lecture this weekend, be on the lookout for my return for the Black Parent Boot Camp. I want to do it in every state. We've already done New York, but I'll be coming back for New York City because they're the largest Black city in the country. So they're going to get a special training. So I've done New York. I've done Jersey. I've done DC. I've done a couple, but I haven't done any in the South. So I will be coming back to do that. But again, anybody need to reach me by text message, 215-989-9858. There will also be vendors in Houston Saturday, brother said. The Shrine of Black Madonna will have their regular Saturday vendor row. So it's going to be a Black marketplace. Come out and support Black businesses. Saturday, Houston, Texas, Dr. Umar Johnson at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. There will be vendors outside. I think the vendors are going to be there from 12 to 5. Okay. Come on out, support Black business. And I want all the vendors to know you owe me a gift. I get a gift from the vendors. All right. So if you got shea butter, I get a shea butter. You got t-shirt, I get a t-shirt. And I just hope to God that ain't none of the vendors no haters, because there's nothing worse, brother said, than helping people get paid while they tearing you down. So if you're a vendor and you a Umar hater, don't vent at my event. Have some integrity about yourself. Go find one of those Hotepians and go vent at their damn event. Don't be vented at my event making money off my name and you don't even like me. You understand? Let's keep it honest. But on the reels, brother said, I'm excited, brother. It's been 3.5 years, man. 3.5 years.
A lot.
You know what happened to me when I left Texas the last time? First of all, last time I was in Texas, we didn't have the school, brother said.
That's right. That's
so this will be my first time in Texas since we purchased FDMG. And we purchased FDMG on February the 7th, 2019. 1 week before Frederick Douglass's 201st birthday, which means the school was purchased during Frederick Douglass's bicentennial year of 200. And guess what else is historically ironic? Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, incorporated the Black Star Line. Where did he incorporate the Black Star Line, brother said?
He incorporated it
Delaware.
In Delaware.
Delaware. In 1919. When did we buy the school, brother said? In 2019. Look at that.
Come on, man.
So the bicentennial of Frederick Douglass' birth and the bicentennial of the centennial of Marcus Garvey's Black Star Line. Ain't no coincidences. I'm going to go a little deeper with you. Did you know Bob Marley used to live in Wilmington, Delaware?
I did not know that.
Bob Marley and his mother used to vacation in Wilmington on a regular basis. Bob Marley used to work there, and I know people who knew him and his family. And the Bob Marley house is painted up like Bob Marley. When you come to the block party, brother said, you can go visit the Bob Marley house. Let me go a little bit further. Did you know that the main stop for Harriet Tubman on the Underground Railroad was Wilmington, Delaware?
I didn't know that, man.
Did you ever see the famous picture of Harriet Tubman on a carriage with a horse?
Yeah, yeah.
She's helping her mother and father escape. It's a famous painting. She's standing on the carriage.
Yeah.
Guess who gave her that carriage? A white man by the name of Thomas Garrett, who probably helped more enslaved Africans escape than anybody else. Guess where he lived at? In Wilmington. He's the one who gave Harriet Tubman the carriage that she used to go snatch her mother and father away before they got sold. Let me go deeper. I'm still not done. Where did Frederick Douglass escape through on his way to freedom in Philadelphia and on to New York City? Wilmington, Delaware. I'm still not done. Let's get back to Pan-Africanism. So Garvey incorporated Black Star Line in Delaware.
Right.
I met an elder whose grandparents delivered the paperwork for Garvey's Black Star Line in Delaware.
Come on, man.
I'm still not done. Henry Highland Garnett, the first Black pastor to give a speech before U.S. Congress. He was one of the greatest Pan-Africanists of all time. He debated Frederick Douglass at the National Negro Convention and said we should arm the slaves like Nat Turner to free themselves. It was the great debate. The great debate was between Frederick Douglass and Henry Highland Garnett. Frederick Douglass won by 2 votes. Had Henry Highland Garnett won, brother, they would have had to arm the slaves. And we would have never waited for the Civil War because we would have been free in the 1840s, my brother. Guess what? Thomas Garrett, the same man who financed Harriet Tubman from Wilmington, Delaware, helped Henry Highland Garnett's family escape from Maryland through Delaware to freedom. And I got one more. One more, brother said. Did you know that the state of Delaware did not ratify the 13th Amendment until 1910?
That's facts.
Did you hear me?
That's
the
facts.
last 2 states to ratify the 13th Amendment was Delaware and Kentucky.
Kentucky, that's right.
So why am I giving you this, brother said? I want you to see the symbolism. Delaware is the last slave state coming north. Pennsylvania is the first free state, right?
Right.
So before you could get the freedom in Pennsylvania, you had to pass through slavery one last time in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware. So let's look at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Intellectual emancipation. So the boys will come to school in Wilmington, Delaware, brother said, still slaves. But when they leave Wilmington, Delaware on their way to freedom, they will be a free, liberated, psychologically emancipated Black man. In other words, just like the Underground Railroad was for Tubman and Douglass, just like the Underground Railroad was for Douglass, Tubman, and Garnett, FDMG will be the Underground Railroad for Black boys. The last stop on your road to freedom, Delaware will be the last stop that they ever become a slave. Because after they graduate from FDMG Delaware, they will be a free man for the rest of their life. Look at the symbolism.
Man, that is powerful.
Look at the symbolism.
That lets you know that is extremely important to understand and to crystallize the work that you're doing, that it's not by accident, it's not by incident, it's by design.
Design.
You know what I'm saying? And I think
the destiny will expose the recipe.
Thank you.
The destiny will expose the recipe.
I just want to say this real quick. we don't give people their flowers, and we definitely don't give greatness its acknowledgement. And I think that what you've been able to do and what you have shown the community needs to be highlighted. And we'll make sure, in Houston, we find some way to cherish you and appreciate you, because many people want freedom, but they do everything in their power to remain a slave. And
Because freedom means responsibility.
facts,
And lazy people do not want to be free.
facts. And you mentioned Nat Turner. I think it's important to bring this up. Is Nat Turner, he outsmarted these white folks, and had it not been for a coon, if you will, he would have been able to even do even more. And I think that today, when you say the name Dr. Umar Johnson, there are many people out there who will say this and say with pride that you are a powerful, prolific, phenomenal, phenomenality, a magnificent magnificence, but they are afraid of that force. And you mentioned at Litany that force and why they do what they do. But I think it's important for me to say this. It's time for us to stand up for those who stand up for us. And I think
Yes.
that you've shown that, and you're showing that. And instead of allowing the narrative to continue to increase that you're a scammer, you're a fraud, and all that kind of stuff. But I would say to anybody, have you talked to the brother? Have you had?
And where are the receipts at?
Yeah.
Where, if he's a scammer, prove it. If he ain't got no degrees, they gonna see the degrees, brother said, because once that office gets set up at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, they're gonna see all 6 of them on the wall, brother said. So if they need some receipts, I can't wait to throw that big doctorate up. It's gonna take up the whole wall. I can't wait to throw up them 3 master's degrees. It's gonna take up the whole wall, Negroes. So don't worry about the degrees, baby. They're gonna be on display. But then again, you won't see them because you ain't allowed in that damn school. See, brother said, that's why I got my Ogun candles. You see this? I burned my Ogun, and I practice Yoruba spirituality.
Absolutely.
And in the Yoruba cosmology.
Can you break that down real quick for people who
Yes.
might not know? Because there's a lot of people that don't understand.
Yeah, African spirituality can be broken down real simply. You have the creator, supreme ruler of the universe, unequaled by anything else. At the top of the triangle is God. At the bottom is us, the human being. And between the creator and the human being is a hierarchy of spirits. Now, the Muslims and Christians get spooky when you start talking about the spirits. But guess what, brother said? There's more spirits than humans. There's more. Humanity, modern African, is what? 2 million years old, at least 250,000.
Facts.
Look how many people done died. So when somebody tell you there's more spirits in the world than humans, that should not blow your mind, because more people have passed away than are alive now. You see?
Facts.
So in this hierarchy, you have different groups of spirits. You have the Orisha, which are called Loa in Voodoo, or Abusum in the Akan system. They are called Netters in the Egyptian system, Kemetic system. These are the closest things to the angels of the Bible in the Quran. And these are spirits that God created to oversee a particular aspect of universal function and design. In other words, you have God as the president, and you have a cabinet of spirits. Just like you have the president, and then you have your secretary of education, your secretary of economics, your secretary of justice, right? So you have the creator, and then you have these Orisha. You have the divinity of iron, and the divinity of abundance, and the divinity of the feminine principle or life, or the divinity of the wrath of God, or the masculine principle, or the divinity that opens up the gateways for spiritual communication. Each divinity has a role and a responsibility that they can only carry out with the permission of the creator. Now, people would ask the question, brother said, why does God need divinities if God is all powerful? Well, why did God create your ass? Because he didn't need you either. The reason God created these spirits, brother said, that are the conduits or the go-betweens between heaven and earth, is because God is beyond human comprehension. We think we understand God because we call him Allah. We think we understand God because we say Jehovah. We think we understand God because we say Amin Ra. You cannot understand God. God is too great. Mm. And because God is beyond your ability to understand, brother said, as a mercy to us human beings, God created spirits to help us understand divine consciousness and lead us back to our connection to divine consciousness. Let me give you an electrical comparison. I'm going to give you an electrical comparison. Your house is ran on electricity.
Yes, sir.
The electric outside your house, brother said, is too powerful to be allowed in the house in its raw form. Are you following me?
Yes.
So they have to get a converter, and they have to convert the power at the power lines before they bring it in your house. Because if they bring the electric into your home as it is, it will burn the house down. Your house cannot deal with the raw power of that electric source. Are you following me?
Yes.
So before they bring it in your house, the electrician got to get a converter and knock down the voltage. They got to deliberately knock down the voltage. And when they knock down the voltage, brother said, what do? They run lines to the kitchen, and they run lines to the living room, and they run lines to the bathroom so you can plug in your devices. If you plugged in your devices before they converted that electric to a lower level that you can handle, it'll kill you and everything in the house. That's God. That's God. God is too powerful to be brought into your home. So as a mercy, God has given you an army of spirits to help you understand, to help you comprehend, to introduce you to the great I am, unknown, invisible, never to be seen, supreme force of all that is. So those are the Orisha. In Yoruba culture, you are born under the influence and guidance of a particular Orisha. I am born under the influence and guidance of Ogun, the divinity of iron, power, strength, persistence, nation building, nation protection. And guess what his colors are? Red and black in some traditions, red and green in other traditions. Do you know what that means? Ogun is the father of the red, black, and green flag. Lord have mercy. Lord have, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I walk with the spirit of the RBG. Wow. And the reason I can take what they throw at me, said, and keep going is because Ogun never quit. Ogun don't stop till the job is done. Ogun is the father of technology. He's the reason you got a Black Wall Street. He's the builder of the bank. He's the builder of the hospital. He's the builder of FDMG. So the reason I can take the hit and keep on going, because you can't destroy iron. You can beat up iron. You can step on iron. You can burn iron. You can't destroy iron. And Ogun is the energy of iron. And I am the son of Ogun. And that's why my Yoruba name is Ifa Tunde. Destiny has returned. Ogun Tade is the last name, which means Ogun wears the crown.
Wow. You do wear the crown, my brother. You do wear the crown.
And let me not leave out the ancestors, which are the real angels that we need to be worried about. When we die, we don't die. We transform to a high level of existence. When we transform to a high level of existence, brother said, those spirits, the family members, they stay with the family. That's why in ancient Africa, you was buried under the floor of the house. Let me say that again. In ancient Africa, the ancestors were buried under the floor of the house, brother said, which means they never left the house. So when you did your libation and poured your water onto the ground, you were pouring it right onto your ancestors, waking them up so you can have a conversation. You see? And so for us as a people, and we should know this because the Haitian Revolution, more than any other event, shown us the centrality, the central importance of African ancestors, because it was the Haitian Revolution that depended on African ancestors to bring about that victory. And remember, the Haitians, our Haitian Africans, brothers said, they beat the French.
That's right.
They beat the British.
That's right.
They beat the Spanish.
That's right.
A slave army, for the first time in human history, defeated the greatest white general of all time and beat every white power at that time and used African spirituality to do it. So our ancestors, brother said, are an army waiting to be called on, an army waiting to be tapped into. And we have to get in touch with those ancestors. They're not going to do the work for us. I want to be clear. But they will give you the work. They will give you the energy and the resources necessary for you to do the work. So you have Orisha spirits that God sent to help you. You got ancestor spirits that God sent to help you. You have the Father of divinity and wisdom, which is a spirit, to help you. You have the Iami, the great mothers, to help you. You got the Egbe, your astro mates, to help you. Brother said, there's a whole community of spirits out there. I'm talking about the righteous spirits, because you do have unrighteous.
That's right.
You do have unrighteous. We don't deal with them. We let the white power structure deal with the unrighteous spirits. But we have a whole army of spirits that are there to aid us on our journey. That's why when Marcus Garvey said, after I die, Garvey said, after I die, I will come back with countless millions of African ancestors who will walk with me to bring about the freedom, justice, and liberation of African people, my brother. Man, that's why we got to get back to African spirituality. You could still be a Muslim and practice African spirituality. You could still be a Christian. You could still be a Hebrew. Be whatever you want to be. But until you build a relationship with your ancestors, until you build a relationship with your passed on blood relatives, you'll never become the fullness of what God intended for you to do. So tonight, I'm going to be burning my Ogun candles, doing my meditation, getting ready for Houston, getting ready to die for Dallas. And I'm going to drop that garbage grenade at the Shrine of the Black Madonna Saturday, 2 o'clock. Bring the kids, bring everybody. I'm coming with the force, and I'm coming with the fight. Black Texas, let's do it.
Man, let's do it. Hey, my brother, it's going to be amazing. People need to come out. Please, please let people know. And I also have to give you a credit, man. This is free. It's FREE.
Yes.
Nobody's doing that.
It is not about a hustle. It is about the struggle. It is not about the hustle. It is about the struggle. If you don't want to buy the book, don't buy the book. But don't call me later crying about how you don't know how to save your baby. But come and get the message, brothers and sisters. Come and support the vendors. Free event. No tickets are necessary. All you got to do is show your black behind on up in Dallas or Houston, brothers and sisters. Again, donate to FDMG, $ FDMG School on the Cash App, $ FDMG School on the Cash App, or paypal.me/FDMG Academy, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. 215-989-9858. If you need to text Dr. Umar, 215-989-9858. Don't forget, Saturday, September the 11th, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Join me in Wilmington, Delaware, Frederick Douglass City, Harriet Tubman City, Bob Marley City, and let us celebrate the purchase of 4 beautiful buildings, which will become the most anticipated and the largest independent Black school in American history.
Hey, Baba, I appreciate you. Love you, man.
Thank you,
for
brother.
life. Continue to keep doing what you're doing, and know that it's not only making a difference in the here and now, but there are descendants not even yet born, children who have not even seen the earth, that will praise and glorify and edify your name, my good brother. So it's all love and much respect to you. And I'll see you on Saturday. Let's
much respect, brother. Said. Thank you, guys. Be blessed.
All right. Peace and blessings. Take care.